So the conditions today, we have a very firm pitch here at Kensington Oval, as we heard one of the captains saying that he thinks is ideal to bat on. And we can just have a close look at the surface here. There is a covering of grass, although it's a bit patchy. It's a bit more grass on it than normal, bearing in mind that we've had a lot of rain recently, but the head curator has ensured me that it has had good preparation. This is the same strip that was used last weekend for the plate final, so it's had some work on it. I think the areas of concern be where you see those patchy areas in between. You have the grassy areas, so ball hitting on the seam can probably get some good purchase there, certainly for the faster bowlers. Here with me I have the head curator in Winston Reed. Winston, another good surface here at Kensington Oval. Can you tell us a little bit about the preparation coming into this game?
Yes, indeed, it's a lovely track. It's hard. And I just mentioned just now, not too long ago, it's grass mainly in the middle areas, a little bit at the ends. I think that's because mainly a lot of rolling that was done on it. Some of the weaker grass would have been at the end of the wickets, but I think the seamers would enjoy just bowling your length mainly, back of a length and close.
And obviously with a firm pitch, batsmen tend to get full value for their shots.
Oh yes, the ball should come on nicely onto the bat. It's just a matter of, obviously, if you're playing cricket, your shot selection is vital.
And let me ask a question that you're very versed at answering. The spin bowlers, how will they play a part today?
I think the spinners, they will not get much turn, but it will bounce. It's that hard. So if they can use their lines properly, and their length especially, if you don't get too full, they should cause a few problems with the ball bouncing a bit above the meat of the bat.
Well, there you have it. We've seen the spinners dominating in the T20 format for quite a bit. If they listen to the advice of Winston Reed, the well-renowned left-arm spinner for Barbados, lines and lengths are important because there's a bit of bounce.
And Shane Mosley, who's away, so they would have missed some very important players. But they are a unit which has been together for quite some time, and I think that they were still fast themselves. But the Gladiola team, I said, those first three batsmen, who started there, three of the most aggressive batsmen you can see around this island, in Kadeem Allen, Martin Nurse, and Cody Phillips. But that aggression has not paid dividends for them so far today.
I said a stamp. What is right arm over one ball?
We've got Ronaldo Brathwaite, the new batsman. Beautiful day at Kensington Oval. Conditions look pretty good. We've had a good final as well in the second division T20 last week. Now it's to continue. That's perhaps the line that he wants to be bowling. Yes, he got a wicket with a short ball, but when you consider this pitch and you consider how things have shaped up so far, you want to perhaps get that ball up a bit more.
Yeah, and that delivery, there was some swing, some away movement, and it was really good to see him pitch the ball up. Good carry through to the keeper. So a really good start for them. So at the end of over number 3, they're 24 for 2.
So welcome again to Kensington. If you've just turned your television on and wanted to know what is this on TV, it's the BCA's Elite Division 1 2020 Cup Final between Gladiola and Wanderers Cricket Club. Where's Gladiola based?
Gladiola is based at Rice's in St. Philip. They actually sponsored with the Barbados Workers Union. So in this environment, they're one of the few teams really to still be able to have a sponsor. Gladiola is really an interesting team because they're a mix of players that have left Lyme, and some of Lyme players have gone over to the BNOCL, who you saw play here in that final last weekend. They also have gone on. They've had an intermediate team as well. So this Gladiola team really a mixture of those guys, and then the likes of Ryan Nurse and some of those guys have been able to bring some of the other fellows, some of the other friends over, namely Cody Phillips and these guys over from the Empire Club. So they've been able to put together a nice little unit. Their ground there at Rice is not a big ground. They actually play 3s and 4s because of the small nature, but they've been able to really put up some stellar performances in this tournament. They win against UWI. The semi-final was really noteworthy and a really good game for them. Jair McAllister.
When you look at Wanderers' team, they've got a couple of quicks that don't look as fast, but they do come off the pitch pretty nicely.
Yeah, and especially Jerry McAllister, he'll probably be the quickest of the lot. He is a St. Lucie lad like myself, hails from the area of Pike Corner. Actually went to school at the St. James Secondary School for a stint, and he actually started his cricket over
the
at
Frederick
Maple Club.
Smith.
The Frederick Smith, got to give it its right title these days. I'm still in the old school era.
Yeah, that's understandable.
But yeah, Jerry McAllister has really set Tom's wagon.
There that short ball is again. They like the short ball, the Wonders team. Haven't seen them from the very first match they played. It has been a ploy that they've utilized from the first game they played against Maple and covered that game. They like to bowl short.
And I really think in the T20 format, the short ball really is underutilized delivery. More times than not, it turns out to be a dot ball.
There it is again. And like you said, Pedro, another dot ball. What they will want to do is to put some more pressure on Gladiola, who have lost 2 wickets, and they'll be also watching that scoreboard with the overs coming down.
Yeah,
that's when you start to panic.
For certain, and one who's played here can tell you, Barry, when you come to Kingston Oval, the first thing that gets under your skin is that extra bounce, and you're usually late on a lot of these deliveries.
Just a single. This is good cricket from Wonders. We had a very enterprising start. Kadeem Aline had struck a 4 and a 6 in the first over. But we have not seen any further fireworks. I like the looks of Jerry McAllister. Perhaps just needs to straighten his run up a bit more, but he's promising. That's in the air, and that's gone for 4. The cameraman was in danger for a little while, but another boundary there, and finally, Gladiola get going again.
This time that short ball going for runs, taking up dead ball.
It's actually a 6.
So it's actually a 6.
Yeah, the umpire made a little mistake there, corrected the error. So 6 runs, the second 6 of the innings. And that total should just move up now to 32 for 2.
Interesting enough, both 6s have been struck off top edges from short pitch deliveries. So although there have been a couple of dot balls, they'll have to be very wary. I think Zara McAllister so far in this tournament, he's probably one of the leading wicket takers, actually leading wicket taker for the Wanderers Club, picking up some 10 wickets so far.
That's a big hit. And just through the hands there of Nikolai Charles, and 6 more. Gladiola turning it on.
Yeah, another short ball. This is Martin Nurse, and when he was younger, I would say he would have hit that on top of the roof. But extra pace, good pull shot that from Martin Nurse. He will always take on the short ball, I can tell you. And I think the Wanderers team and Nikolai Charles will be quite disappointed with that effort after that delivery was pulled down there for a 6 to close off over number 4 at 38 for 2.
Nurse has just moved up there now to 13. Myself in a minute.
Ali, ball and change right arm
It's
over.
actually 38 for 2. And the man who has done very well when fit. When fit, that's a very key thing. Is the man who identifies and follows the role of Jack Callis.
It's interesting because he hasn't bowled a lot. very stiff.
I remember Ian Bishop about 5 seasons ago used a term for Roshan Primus that he bowls a heavy ball.
Yeah, he does. He's also a heavy guy. And the heavier he's gotten, that ball has gotten a little bit lighter. So he has to be very careful with it. We saw him here, though, in the first class game playing for Trinidad Red Force. I mean, single-handedly won the game for Trinidad against Barbados.
Now, there's no need for Martin Nurse to be so cheeky. The first ball he's facing from Roshan Primus. He's looking to play ill-advised lap.
And it was a free hit.
Yeah. Unbelievable. Reminds me of a cricketer, Xavier Marshall, I remember about 10, 12 years ago. Xavier Marshall defended a free hit.
He's an enigma, I can tell you. Plays for United States now, I think, isn't he?
And he slashed that to the boundary. 4 runs. And Gladiola continued to go. 44 now for 2.
Yeah, that's the Martin Nurse you'll come to know and love as this broadcast goes on. If he spends any time at the crease, this man puts bat to ball. He's not built really for longevity. He's built really for power. Hits the ball tremendously hard. And this is something he's been doing. As I said, the first time we saw him really was playing for the combined schools. Himself, Ronaldo Paris, and Sky Road Braffett were the ones who set Towns wagon back in the day. But Martin Nurse was away from the cricket scene for a little while, but it's good to see him back in this Gladiola outfit and bring his team here to a final.
Well bowled, well played. The thing about that, though, is that you've got the third man, which is good. Because that could have easily been another boundary. You have to give young Stewart some plausibility there for having a good field setting.
Yeah, well, obviously a plan there to Martin Nurse to be outside the off stump. The previous delivery went for a boundary, but even before that, there was ball. Kirk Edwards, who's there at the term, he was sent down to the boundary, and it paid dividends on that occasion with that full wide delivery.
That's a very good shot. 6 more into the Hewitt and Innes stand. If the big crowd were here, we would see them jumping and waving. It's all happening with the 6s at Kensington Oval, and Gladiola are 51 now for 2.
Yeah, when I first saw the team come up here for the Gladiola team, I was happy to see young Ronaldo Braffett back in the mix-up. Was to see Kirk Edwards having some work. There's no one the crowd to help him throw that ball back. So as with international games, you see recently, he's had to go find that one himself. Kirk Edwards was interesting. He's had pretty impressive bowling figures in this tournament. We wouldn't expect that from Kirk, but 4 for 13 in the previous game. But yeah, just a word on young Braffett. He was in the era of the Craig Braffett, actually. And he was the one who, at the combined schools level, actually opened batting with Craig. And if you had looked at 2 of them at that stage, par on par in terms of talent, you would have probably said that this would have been the guy who would have gone on. But Craig, you know, his record stands for itself, what he was being able to do. But this young man's not short of Craig. Again, another one of these guys who's been away from the game for quite some time.
Jack Callis would have been one of the best all-rounders to ever have played the game. And Roshan Primus said he models himself after Jack Callis because he wants to move in that vein. But I think he's about, 25 now. He might find himself just being perhaps a little behind the game. Not having played cricket for West Indies, or he's played for Trinidad, he's played for Barbados, but he's perhaps not moving in the direction from a fitness level where he might want to be.
Yeah, he needs to get himself a little bit fit. He needs that breakout season.
Should be a wide. And is a wide. He's an extremely good and talented cricketer, Roshan Primus. I think he bats better than he bowls.
Well, he'll probably not agree. He thinks he's as good at either front. Well, I can tell you, having played with him and against him, he hits the balls tremendously hard.
Very hard. Picks it up. He has a very good hand-eye coordination. I just think he needs to put a little more thinking into his bowling. Not just running and bowl, but actually set up a batsman. That should have been a wide again. Well, 52 for 2, and 5 overs gone.
The mid-pitch conference here between Nurse and Braffett. I think they'll be happy being 52 after the first 5 overs. What a good start for them. Lost 2 wickets, but they took a chance. They took chances in getting themselves here. So I think they'll probably give up those 2 wickets for the position they find themselves in. For the Gladiola team here, really, it would be how they really maneuver their runs, progression between over 6 and 10. That's when it's going to be really interesting.
So we're going to have another bowling change. It's going to be Boyce coming on with his spin. We're going to also have a change in the commentary booth. Pedro Agard is going to give way to my neighbor, a good friend, Andy Wallace. Hello to you, Henry. Good start there from Boyce.
Good afternoon to you, Barry, and good afternoon to all of our viewers. It's certainly been a good period of play there for Gladiola. Martin Nurse has been all out aggression. And with the ball coming onto the bat, I just wonder if he's trying a little bit too hard, almost looking to overhit the ball. There he goes again. Yeah, there he goes again, just going for the big hit. And obviously looking at those wide open spaces on the leg side, and his partner there just maybe giving him a reassuring word to calm it.
Yeah, look, 4 dots because he's tried to be too cute, too exuberant. Sometimes in this game, Henry, you've just got to keep it simple.
You suss out the conditions and make that determination. And from what we saw on this pitch, certainly orthodox batting can work well.
He's broken the shackles there a little bit. But this is a fantastic over. 5 balls and just 1 run. That's like gold dust in T20 cricket.
Yeah, Boyce has been one of the unsung heroes for this wondrous setup, and with the big names being unavailable, it's an opportunity for a lot of these, we call them fringe players who are not necessarily in the forefront, an opportunity to really shine here, big stage at Kensington Oval.
Well, he smacked that to good effect for 4 more. 57 now for 2.
And again, the beauty about that shot was how he held his shape and picking the spot perfectly. There was Edwards who was on the ring, not right back on the boundary, so that was an invitation for young Brathwaite to hit over the infield, but he, as I said, it was an orthodox shot and perfectly executed.
So we've got 6 overs gone, 57 for 2. Martin Nurse is on 19. And Ronaldo Brathwaite, who we just saw smack that, is on 12. You're watching, of course, the final of the BCA's Elite Division 1 T20 Cup Final here at Kensington Oval between a team called Gladiola, who are batting in green from Rice's in St Philip, against Wondrous Cricket Club, who are from Darrows Road. Is that St Michael or Christchurch?
That is interesting one, Barry. I think they still refer to themselves as St Michael.
Okay.
I think so.
It's just on the board, is it?
Yeah.
Just past the Garrison Savannah, where there's horse racing in Barbados today. And it's a club that has produced the West Indies cricket captain, who would have been perhaps playing today if he was here, Jason Holder. Also the former vice captain, Greg Brathwaite.
Yeah.
And we're going to see another former West Indies player now take up the attack. This is Kirk Edwards.
Yeah, Kirk was the man with the golden arm in the semi-final. I think he picked up 4 wickets. Not known for his bowling, so maybe that was a bit of a surprise package. And let's see how he goes here now in the final.
Good start. Kirk Edwards has been a bit of an enigma in cricket for the West Indies. Scored a century on his debut against India for the West Indies, and then after 2 good tours, he just totally faded away.
Well, he'll be using all of his smarts here now to outfox Martin Nurse. As we said, Martin Nurse has been going really hard.
That's going to go down to the boundary. But it doesn't get there. And that's going to be 3 in all. They ran 2 and then there's a wide.
So clearly the plan here from Edwards is not to give any room outside the off stump for Nurse. So the counter there for Nurse will be to maybe try and swing the ball over the leg side. Slightly open stance there. And the line from Edwards, very predictable. So he's pitching the ball just outside leg stump or maybe on the leg stump. Not looking to go any wider than that at the moment. And what will Nurse do? Will he try to improvise?
He's got hold of that. That's another 6 to Martin Nurse. 66 now for 2.
I think the key there was the length. The line was okay on the leg stump, but it was short. And that just gave Martin Nurse the opportunity to get under that one and lift it over the leg side. As I said, that's the area that he's most likely going to target with this line from Edwards. And it's always a relief when you can get a boundary. And this Gladiola team is a boundary hitting team that we've seen so far in the competition. Their ground is a much smaller ground than what is here. They play 3s and 4s at their home ground. But for some of the 6s we've seen so far, it certainly has not been a deterrent. It's a good response from Edwards.
Oh, I think a direct hit there, Henry, it might have been interesting.
Always the case with a direct hit, and I'm not so sure that Nurse was going at full rate. A bit of byplay there between Nurse and Edwards, but it was a very tight single indeed, and as we saw with the first dismissal, the direct hit always appears to be much closer than you think.
I don't think Nurse will be particularly happy with how this over's gone. He's been indifferent. Let's see if he can end strong. Still got 2 balls left. That's very well bowled. Ronaldo Brathwaite, for all intents and purposes, has just been a little lazy, in my opinion.
That's a good comeback there by Edwards. Still 10 runs off the over with the wide and that 6, but I think by and large he'd be pleased with the way that over was compiled.
Yeah, so we've had 7 overs gone now. Gladiola batting, 67 for 2 as we see the bunker there. Some of the reserve players.
Point, Eddie. Start.
Good to see, Hendy, the conditions we've had at Kensington. A good day in terms of the weather. How do you assess the pitch?
Yeah, I was speaking to the head curator at the toss. He indicated that there was a nice covering of grass. There were some patches which he attributed to the heavy roller, maybe just burning some of the weaker grass, but it was a very firm surface and he expected bounce.
Well, this used reverse sweep to great effect. Well batted Martin Nurse. 4 more.
Execution was the key. He has been trying to improvise from the very start of his innings, but on this occasion getting it to perfection and splitting those 2 fielders in the ring just behind point on the offside.
It's true. India tight. One.
Follows up with, that's good batting, to follow up with the easy single. And again, you saw the deliberate effort to play with soft hands so that the ball did not race out to the fielder on the circle. and good response too from Brathwaite at the non-striker's end to come through for that quick single. So good batting by this pair.
Another cheeky single, Andy.
Yeah, much easier on this side. You see there's absolutely no one in that area on the leg side. The fielders are on the boundary. So again, clever batting by Brathwaite to just nurdle the ball into the leg side with no pace whatsoever. And that was a very comfortable single.
Jordan.
I thought it should have been 2.
Yeah.
Remember, it's very hot out there as well, Barry. So even although you're not there for a long time, the batsmen, I imagine that
George.
sapping heat, especially under those helmets as well. This guy Ronaldo Brathwaite, though, is an interesting character. He's been a real key man for Gladiola.
He's the kind of batsman that
Okay.
perhaps this season he's been okay. He's had some really good innings. But the times I've seen him, he just needs to put a little more urgency in his game.
Well, that might be a fair point. I'm probably looking more at the results that he's had so far. He's been away for a couple of games because he's also a fisherman, and he was away.
Right now he looks at sea.
No, he was away earning a living and doing some fishing, and then he came back for the semi-final and did really well for them. As we said, 75 for 2. As the Gladiola team are going along quite smoothly at this stage.
Yeah, we've had 8 overs gone here at Kensington Oval. If you've been wondering what's happening, Martin Nurse, the left-handed batsman, is on 32, and the short right-hand is Ronaldo Brathwaite. He's on 14. We apologize for the lack of graphics, so we'll just try to keep you informed so you'll follow what's going on. And it's, of course, the final of the T20 BCA Elite Division 1 Cup. And it's going to be Kirk Edwards who's going to be continue bowling, and this time he's going to be bowling to the man Ronaldo Brathwaite.
There's the man out there, just a couple of bounces, not quite getting the timing right. But this is impressive stuff from Kirk Edwards. As I said, not known for his bowling. As a matter of fact, when I would have seen him bowl before, it was bowling medium pace. But his slow stuff, he seems to have an idea what he's doing and where he wants to place the ball.
Yeah, that's a much better delivery. And Martin Nurse needs to just assess your game a little bit more. Now that's what I'm talking about, Hendy. You're not playing the ball straight, you're not getting the ball in the arc, but you're trying to reverse sweep. If you want to drive fast, you have to control your vehicle.
Well, the previous over, he executed the reverse sweep quite effectively. But again, it's a premeditated shot.
This is good bowling. Very good bowling from Kirk Edwards.
Well, good results. I'm not sure those last 2 deliveries were good. The attempt at the reverse sweep was for full toss, and there again, full delivery. Martin Nurse got his timing all wrong.
Should be out caught, and is. Martin Nurse trying to be too exuberant. He tried to play a late cut, a reverse sweep, and a pugnacious cover drive. He did everything wrong there, and that's why he's out. Gone now for 32, and it means that Gladiola, after that encouraging partnership, are now 76 for 3 after 8.4.
I think a lot of credit there should go to Kirk Edwards, and I can see he really enjoyed getting that dismissal. He even jokingly put his hand in his pocket to suggest that he's got Martin Nurse in his pocket. But again, it was a well-structured over. He mixed it up. He made sure that he was not predictable with his deliveries, and in the end, it proved to be the undoing of Martin Nurse.
So this is where now Ronaldo Brathwaite is going to have to show his seniority in the middle. Looks to me like the new batsman is Devon Phillips.
But you know everything. Stand in for our practice, buddy.
But we have to spend a moment to give some credit to Kirk Edwards. I mean, he put the pressure on Martin Nurse. That's going to go for 4. Did it come off the bat? Yes, it did.
I guess one can say that was a fortuitous boundary. And that's the 5th delivery in the over. And up until then, just 1 run was off the over from Kirk Edwards, along with the wicket. So he'll be a little bit disappointed that Phillips was able to get that lucky edge down to the 3rd man position. But he shouldn't be disappointed. I think getting the wicket of Martin Nurse was really a bonus for the Wanderers side. So it looks like Nikolai Charles will be brought back into the attack. Didn't have such a good start to the innings. And this has been the plan with the Wanderers throughout this tournament, where they've been going with a combination of spin and pace at the start of the innings, and Nikolai Charles has been the one identified to bowl a new ball, bowling his leg spin. Goes down to the sweeper.
I'm not too sure what Nikolai Charles' action, though. I know you, off here, you try to explain it to me, but I'm not so certain that his action is what it should be.
I don't know what you mean by what it should be. You're suggesting that there's a chink in the delivery?
I think it needs editing.
Well, just keep an eye on the elbow and keep an eye on the wrist. He does bowl with a cocked wrist, which sometimes can be a little bit deceptive to the naked eye. Not looking to spin the ball here at all. It's more like top spin. Not looking to turn the ball. He does have this ability to get the ball very full, as we saw there, young Phillips having to dig that one out.
Moving.
The keeper encouraging Charles to say, don't move it from there.
This is very good bowling. This is what pressure does, Henry. You've got Kirk Edwards keeping it very tight at the other end, and Nikolai Charles doing the same. This is the period of the match where we should be seeing the purple patch of Gladiola, but we're not seeing that at the moment.
Well, it's the slow stuff as well, and so often we've seen batsmen struggle to keep the run rate going when the slow bowlers are on.
Urgency. They need to have more urgency.
They're doing singles at the moment, not looking for the big shots. And that can have an effect when you lose a wicket like you just did with Martin Nurse. It can have an effect on the approach of the batting side. So they're probably looking to consolidate.
They're appealing for something. I think it might have been a catch at the wicket, but that was very adventurous, if not optimistic. So we've got 83 for 3 at the halfway stage. 10 overs gone. Brathwaite has got 17 and Phillips has got 5 in this final here between Gladiola and Wanderers in the BCA's Elite Division 1 2020 Cup Final.
So the halfway stage of the innings, the Gladiola camp, they're looking quite relaxed. You see the international players there at the back with Miguel Cummins and Martin Nurse. They will obviously have a big part to play in the latter part of this game. Martin Nurse probably with his batting in this innings and bowling along with Miguel Cummins. So these are the key men for Gladiola as they look to defend whatever total they get batting first. We heard the captain, Javon Searles, at the toss saying that, you know, they would have, although they lost the toss, they would have wanted to bat first because they reckon the scoreboard pressure is key in a final. And on a surface, as we said before, time and again, that is pretty good for batting. You would expect to put up a good score, and I think that looking at what we've seen so far at the halfway stage with Gladiola, I think they'd be looking to get something in the region of 160 or so, maybe 170.
Yeah, they will have a good score if they get that, I can tell you, Henry. That's going to be a pretty tough score, I think, to overhaul. Looking at the conditions, they're very good, but I just feel that Wonders, like you said, lack that quality, consistent batting. A lot will depend on Primus, if they get 160, 170.
Primus will be the talisman for the Wonders outfit throughout the season. It's good to see that he's bowling again. He went through a couple of games where he wasn't able to bowl his full allotment, and to see him bowling here today, as I said, he wasn't as fluent coming into the crease, although he never really is, but it's always a little bit difficult when you've been off for a while with injury to come straight back in, and I think Wonders are just happy to know that he's able to bowl. His strength is obviously prizing out wickets. He can go for a few runs, but he has that ability to turn the game on its head with the ball, and we know that when he's at his best, he's very solid at the back end of the innings. So we've come to the end of the drinks break, and we've come to the end of the stint with Barry Wilkinson, and joining me is my fellow Coaching Parry schoolmate, Pedro Agar. Pedro, how has it gone so far in your estimation?
I'm pretty glad you plugged that Coaching Parry thing, because I was going there right away. Because you have a lot of Coaching Parry people out there, so I was just about to plug that right away.
Why not?
That the Coaching Parry people are large and in charge. Yeah, I think if you look at 83 for 3 after 10 overs, I think the Gladiola team will say they're pretty happy with where they are in terms of runs per over. They would probably think they've gifted up a couple of soft wickets, but their approach has been extremely aggressive. So to just have only lost 3 wickets with the approach that they have taken is probably good for them. They still have a lot of resources in the batting. You just saw on screen their coach, Ryan Nurse, was out there with Javon Sears, who's the captain. He can hit a pretty long ball. There's still Ashley Nurse in the hut. So they have resources at which they think that they will be able to set what I think should be a good total.
So Kirk Edwards is going to continue. He has been the surprise package so far. And Barry mentioned on air earlier about the aggressive running that, from the batting side, and I think that was a perfect example there. The ball being fielded right on the boundary and only able to get 1 run. Polite question there, but clearly outside the line, and umpire suggesting that they might have been a better bat as well.
Well, no run given. Kirk Edwards is just a surprise package. He will say to you if you ask him, he has bowled at international level, so he will think the surprise is on us.
I think the difference that you will see here at Kensington, and I'm sure the fielding side will always appreciate it, is that with the smooth outfield, you don't see as many fumbles in the outfield, so whereas the batsmen are really trying to push hard, the boundary riders don't feel the pressure as much because it's such a lovely surface, the outfield.
Yeah, the outfield here is really, really good. It's gotten better with every week since I've been coming here in the last couple of weeks, to be honest. I think the players will always relish the opportunity to be running around here.
Was in the air for a while. This time they're going to put the fielders under pressure, but again, good work. So not able to get that second run, but at least there was a little bit more urgency there.
Well, what you will see at this level, and I hate to say it because I've been a victim of that, the lack of fitness will come in pretty soon, I can tell you.
I think that was an opportunity for a chance. If you look at the reaction of Kirk Edwards, he probably thought it was an edge. But more importantly, it's a dot ball. So it's been good figures for Kirk Edwards so far. He'd be very pleased with his returns. And so far, that was his 3rd over completed, and just 20 runs. And I think the real bonus is that 1 wicket, picking up the wicket of Martin Nurse, who was beginning to, I guess, find his range. And we know he's a boundary hitter. We said that a lot about this Gladiola side. but Kirk Edwards would have been happy to get him back in the hutch.
Yeah, for sure. And Kurt, as he said, he's had figures of 4 for 13 already this year, so it's not new to him really having to bowl. But say what you like about him, but I think so far he's done a pretty good job. Looks like it's going to be the young Roshan Williams.
Yeah, this Wonders bowling, the bowling for Wonders throughout the year has depended heavily on the spinners. So we're seeing yet another spinner coming in, young Williams. He's done well for them as well. And Craig Brathwaite, who was away on international duty, would normally open the bowling with his slow stuff.
Okay.
So you can understand the Wonders team being influenced by using spin in their attack.
Yeah, and young Roshan Williams picked up, I think, 7 wickets on the 6 runs and over. So he's pretty been doing a steady job in these middle overs.
And Gladiola dealing in singles at the moment. We haven't seen the big shots. Again, maybe a period of consolidation. They've got some firepower in the tank with Searles and Nurse and such like to come.
Okay.
Thinking of a second run, but certainly not on. So good start by Williams so far. All singles, 4 deliveries, 4 singles.
Yeah, credit to the Gladiola batsmen. The rotation of strike, very important.
Improvisation again. This time he might get a couple of runs. Captain Diego Short doing the chasing.
I'm really happy to see Ronaldo Brathwaite in the middle, Doug. I know I've said it before, I don't want to sound like a stock record, but this young man, ears of really good breeding, we'll say. He has come from a long cricketing family.
Yeah. Really had to reach for that one. Just got it off the toe end of the bat. But end of a very good over there from young Williams. And Gladiola have progressed to 95 for 3, 12 overs completed.
Yeah, I think they'll be pretty happy, the Gladiola team. They're able to get themselves into the back end of this innings without too much damage really in terms of the wickets column. I think the introduction of Devon Phillips at this stage, he's pretty deceptive, this young guy. He scores pretty quickly. I think he's a good runner between the wickets also, and he's had not too bad of a season. And I think he will be one they'll like to get down to over 16, 17.
So Edwards in his last over, and he's probably going to get another wicket here. No! Williams making the error there on the boundary, and I was just about to say that Gladiola will not want to gift a wicket to Edwards in this last over, and they offered the opportunity, but it was not accepted.
And I think Brathwaite tried his best.
Let's see how Brathwaite is going to respond now. He had a life. Yeah, he's going to die with a sword.
I think Brathwaite here has decided, come what may, Kirk Edwards has to be slogged. So again, you see, he's down his haunches saying that lack of fitness. I think he's tired.
Yeah, I think he's winded. And that is probably being demonstrated in his stroke play.
One time.
Just losing his shape slightly in his stroke play. So he's hell bent to hit that ball over mid-wicket, regardless where the Edwards is going to pitch it.
I think he's seen the cheer in one of the seats in the Granger Handstands that he wants to deposit it in.
Well bowled by Edwards.
Played as well.
Yeah.
You know what's amazing? You never understand. You know, when batsmen get tired, they never ever think about going for a single and catching their breath. They always go for those glory shots, and I can tell you, Hindi, I know firsthand. And it never works. I mean, it never works. Bradford lucky to still be there.
Edwards will be very pleased with this spell. He's completed his 4 overs, and he should be delighted with what the returns here. 4 overs, no maidens, 1 for 25. Here we see the error that was made again by Williams in the deep.
Well, I don't know. It seemed it was more difficult to drop this one than to actually catch it. He had a long time to wait, and maybe time was against him because he had so much time. In the end, he dropped it. I mean, it was the easiest catch he would have probably gotten all day, and time maybe has been against him, but an easy chance nevertheless. But to Kirk Edwards, credit, he didn't get flustered. He stuck to the stars. He maintained a steady line, but more impressively, a good length. He wasn't allowing batsmen to be able to get under the ball. He wasn't getting too close to the batsman. In the end, he was able to really capture a fine bowling spell by him.
Excellent work there in the field. Raffet looking to improvise once again. And Williams probably looking to make amends for that drop catch. Here he goes again. Big shot, just bringing the single. So you're talking about fatigue for Brathwaite and the amount of effort involved. The returns are quite small at the moment.
He has an opportunity here to just knock the ball around because Phillips is still fresh. You know, let Phillips take that role and just hang in.
There's an opportunity here for a chance. It's in the air for a long time and very well caught by the captain.
Yeah,
so a good wicket there for the Wanderers. And we talked about Phillips being the man. He's the one that tried to get a move on, and he's perished.
Yeah, Roshan Williams being able to come back and pick that wicket up. But once that ball went to air, and we looked around the mountain right away to see who was going to get under that. And once it became Davis short, I think it was pretty much done and dusted because this young man, excellent all-round talent, he would have not dropped that at all. And especially in these conditions, he's always been an excellent fielder. But Devon Phillips trying his best here, not really his day today, but was able to have a partnership there with Bradford. And this is where the real engine room starts with Ashley Nurse. He's done this at international level. He'll be expected to do it here again for the Barbados team. Young Bradford's getting a change of back. Probably a lighter one, Andy.
Yeah. I was just going to say, if you thought that the demise of Phillips was probably due to the struggles that we saw from Brathwaite not being able to get the ball away, and Phillips maybe thought that he would need to maybe try a little bit more to get the scoreboard ticking.
Yeah, I think Phillips all definitely felt the pressure of trying to get that boundary, which has eluded Brathwaite for a little while.
Well, Nurse has come to the crease, but he's at the non-striker's end and will now be on strike. But as you said, Pedro, Ashley Nurse would be the talisman for this Gladiola lineup. I mean, with the bat and ball, also with his inspirational leadership, he would be a key man at this part of the innings. And this is where you're looking for the impetus to the innings.
Yeah, he has time. Good for him, he has time. Still has a couple of overs.
So immediately off the mark. It's been said in the Barbados circles that Ashley Nurse is at his best when he doesn't have as much time. so we'll see how this goes.
Somewhat like Williams under that catch.
That's in the air. I think it's going to be wide of the fielder, down at the backward square position, and it's gone all the way for 6.
Wow.
So we've said time and time again that the bigger outfield here at Kensington may prove to be a challenge for the Gladiola side, but so far they've been hitting quite a few 6s.
Well, I've seen some of the 6s hit at Gladiola. I can tell you there'll be 6s anywhere. But young Ronaldo Brathwaite, to his credit there, he bended and all, was able to put a really bad ball away. Young Williams there guilty really of trying to close the over out, and in the end, feeling the pressure, really pulled down that ball, was easily put away. But yeah, I mean, it's going to come down really here to these last couple of overs. How much of an input can Ashley Nurse have? Because he will be the one. I remember back in the day, when he was a younger guy playing it from line, it was always said his go-to shot was always that slog sweep, which he still plays. But he has really perfected the art of hitting the ball down the ground. He now can score the ball inside or over cover. He's opened up his array of stroke play, and it will be tested because Nikolai Charles here, although it will look like leg spin, there wouldn't be too much spin on offer, so this should be a really good battle.
Don't expect too much flight from Nikolai Charles. Good running, good running. So again, you see the experience there of Ashley Nurse. You're probably expecting to see the big hit, but he cleverly looked to pick up the single. And if Brathwaite can get a second wind, you know, this would be his opportunity to try and really go at the bowlers.
Don't move.
That's what we're talking about.
Well, I was just about to say, Andy, he actually called for that single from Ashley Nurse and called for it rather quickly, which suggests he probably's got that second win.
Yeah.
And right away, the energy seemed to have come back because that's a fantastic shot over Wild on one.
Yeah, and that should be the instruction, you would think, that Brathwaite now can go hard all the way through. Ashley Nurse will play the support role. Brathwaite has been at the crease for a while. He should be given the license.
Really smart cricket there. Good follow-up delivery by Nikolai Charles, but impressive enough, it wasn't a dot ball. Brathwaite with presence of mind enough to realize that although he struck a six, still need to maintain that scoreboard pressure.
And it's not a shot we see very often with the batsman getting deep in the crease and playing with the vertical bat.
Didn't take him long.
Yeah.
Didn't take him long at all. The slog sweep didn't take him long at all. Ashley Nurse find a length that he definitely likes, and Nikolai Charles should know better. If there's one thing you don't want to do is give Ashley Nurse length. You want to bring him full, make him hit the ball over cover. Not that he wouldn't be able to do it, but it's a more difficult shot for him. That one way too easy, but good over so far.
Let's see Charles's response.
Real
Exaggerated defensive
I was
shot.
just going to say, real experience, exaggerated defensively by Ashley Nurse to say, I've hit a six, now what do you have? He's still looking for that six.
But if you're a betting man, we can say the next shot will not be a defensive shot.
I'll take that.
Oh, good shout. Just going down leg side. And untidy work there. If he hits, he's gone. So it's all happening here now at Kensington Oval. And the Wanderers side just losing it slightly in the outfield. Loud appeal for LBW decision, which was ruled not out by the umpire, and that resulted in 3 leg byes.
Yeah, chance for a run out in minute. I think that second win Brathwaite had, he just lost it. That's gone. He's going to need the third, fourth, and the fifth win after this because he's almost run out twice in that attempt for those 3 leg byes, and that would have definitely have winded him. And Ashley Nurse using his experience here to make sure that they slow it down, and it's going to help that there seems like it's going to be Zaire McAllister can see there who's going to come out. So it gives Brathwaite time to collect his helmet. He's dropped his batting gloves. He doesn't want those. He wants water.
No excess weight. Want to take his trousers off as well.
Everything feels heavy. Yeah. Even his trousers is carrying weight. This man is so winded, but he's still a good hand for his 44. And then he's really been the linchpin here so far. Good work done by him, but so tired. And if you're smart, you take an extra 2 minutes to put that Tiger on. I can tell you, he needs all the wind he can get. As the old guys will say to you, face east and open and sucking deeply.
Yep.
Never face west when you're tired. You want to face into the wind and get as much oxygen as you possibly can. I don't know if he's going to get that trousers back up, man. It's still touch and go.
And a lot of protective equipment there on the thigh guard, but Zaire McAllister coming back into the attack. Very pacey and a very exciting young prospect. I remember as selectors seeing young McAllister and being very excited about him. At the time he was a little bit raw. He's really developed his game in the last couple of years, and the exciting thing about him is that is his pace, and he's not afraid to bowl the short ball, and he also has a good Yorker, so it leaves the batsman guessing all the time. So here's McAllister bowling to Ashley Nurse. Well picked up there by Nurse, 2 men in the deep, but he has split them with surgical precision.
Yeah, I think Ashley Nurse really expected that short delivery. There was no effort at all to get a strike in. He just sat on the back foot and waited for that one. Short delivery, ill advised at this stage. The ball now a little bit older than in his first spell. And Ashley Nurse, as I said, this young man, anything that leg side region, he will be able to take on. So in just a minute, we're going to join Barry Wilkinson, who's standing by for an interview with Stephen Leslie. He's the manager of marketing and communications here at the BCA. And he will be able to tell us a little bit more about this season and what has been a good season here for cricket, really in the midst of a COVID pandemic. The BCA being able to put on a competition and climax in a final. So in just a little while, we're going to join Barry Wilkinson and Mr. Stephen Leslie.
Not sure he knew where that one had gone.
To have some cricket, good to have a crowd, spectators. How has the challenge been amid these very serious times of COVID-19?
Well, we embarked upon a season that began back in August of this year. Certainly COVID would have caused a shutdown globally of a lot of almost all the countries. And what we and the Barbados Cricket Association felt is that we would put together a tournament that would be able to allow the players within Barbados to be able to get a format that they can actually enjoy. We came about with a T20 format. This year we have 3 different competitions. Today we are at the second of those 3 finals, and we've had a wonderful response by the teams. There were over 100 clubs and schools that expressed an interest in actually being part of this competition, and we have been very pleased with the progress that we've made thus far as we conclude the season within the next week or so.
You're standing in front of a new campaign that you've launched, This Is We. You're the marketing and communications man. What is this campaign about?
This is basically trying to bring back the Barbados brand within the confines of the DNA of Barbadians and by extension the Caribbean people. Every boy, girl, man and woman wants to be able to part of the success that West Indies endured and encountered for many years. So the This Is We campaign is just the one step in that direction. Barbados Cricket Association is very keen on ensuring that we are able to get everyone to be part of this process, because the success that Barbados gets on the cricket field will extend to that at the West Indies level. So that is what we are hoping to do, have everybody energized and be part of this journey going forward.
Marketing things have been very difficult these days. You've got a good crowd here. You're happy with how things have gone from that perspective?
Yeah, definitely. If you look at the communities that have come out last weekend, we had the first of the 3 finals, and it was an extremely good following. And again today we've got the Wanderers team up against Gladiola. This features some of our best players in Barbados contest in terms of T20. And when you walk through the stands, you see a very good energy. You see a lot of people coming out. They're observing the social distancing, and they're doing as much as they can to observe the protocols. But we're happy with the response, and we hope to be able to build on this going forward in the future.
What's the next step for Barbados cricket in terms of the marketing and communications arm?
Well, we have some exciting programs that our president and our vice president will speak about later, but one of them will certainly be able to expose the contracted players and development contract players that we have within Barbados cricket. We want to pull them together into a competition. That competition would allow them to play both 3-day and 50-over cricket, and we're hoping to launch that very shortly. And once we get through that, hopefully when CWI is able to say to us that they're hosting other regional cricket tournaments, we'll then go from that tournament into the actual playing for Barbados pride and beyond.
I know you said there's another big match here next week, Saturday. After that, when we will be seeing Super 50 or even for the cricket come back to Kensington?
Well, right now, Cricket West Indies, through Johnny Grave, their CEO, has said that they're targeting February of 2021. So once we get through, as you said, next weekend, we are hoping to see how things go. And we are preparing. Barbados Pride has been preparing now for many months. We really didn't take a break. I think the young players are going to be going on a very short 2 or 3 week vacation shortly. But we've been preparing, and we're going to be ready whenever that tournament starts in 2020.
Stephen Leslie, thanks for your time.
Thank you.
Well, you heard it there from Stephen Leslie, the manager of marketing and communications, and I think that whatever happens here today, I think whoever however this day finishes, I think BCA, Barbados Cricket Association, and cricket will definitely be the victors here today. I think they've been able to put on a competition. That final, which is going to be played next week, they actually played in that, and they will be one that can attest that the excuse me, the protocols were well put in place at all clubs. The temperature checks, the social distancing, the respect for players and officials was in full effect, and I thought the BCA did a fantastic job to be able to put not only one but 3 competitions on in the time of a pandemic.
Yes, I think it was well received by the clubs as well, as Stephen said. And at a time when persons were desperate to get out there and do something once the protocols were lifted to allow sporting activity to resume. And the T20 format was the one identified which probably would have supported a lot of the protocols because it wasn't for an extended period. You're talking about 3 hours of cricket, and I think that was a nice way to really get back into the swing of things.
Yeah, so well done to BCA, said congratulations to all those responsible for putting this together.
So it's Niles back into the attack. His opening spell was fairly expensive, but it was impressive with the pace that he generated. And as you said before, Pedro, with the older ball, it's a slightly different challenge. And immediately we've seen his versatility. That first delivery seemed to be a pace-off delivery. It was slightly over-tossed. I don't think he wanted to go full delivery, but I think the key there was seeing the pace off the ball. Another slow delivery, but this time Ashley Nurse using the angles quite nicely. And again, playing to the leg side, his favorite area, as you said, but execution again was perfect. No one in the deep on the leg side behind square, and that was the area picked up by Ashley Nurse. Yeah,
I think Ashley Nurse at this stage doing exactly what his team would want him to do. We're in over number 17, we're 140. For 4, he's been able to come out and have a strike rate of exactly 200, being 18 from some 9 balls. Again, this time pace on. This time put away even more effectively by Nurse. As I said, this man, he's where the engine room starts here for the Gladiola team. I like the way they're structured. They're structured very heavy at the top. Then you have Phillips and Braff who can play either role. But then you get down to the Ashley Nurse and Javon Searles and these guys who will be in Corey Mill, these guys be asked to really put the hammer down. So far, Ashley Nurse doing a really good job, 144 now for 4.
Yeah, problem here for Wanderers, and the captain now coming to have a chat with Niles. First delivery is going for 2-4, so that's real pressure on the bowler. And he's just relaxed the field a bit now, so the bowling the full length is the right idea. He was just probably a little bit shy of getting it full enough into the block hole. A dot ball, it's always like gold dust in T20 cricket, but especially in the last third of the innings.
2 minutes. 2 balls left, buddy, 2 minutes behind.
I think Nurse was a little bit disappointed going from his body language that he wasn't able to pick up a single, the point that you've made repeatedly after the boundary. You're always looking for that single. Good work in the deep there by Nikolai Charles. And again, not great running by the Gladiola batsman. Maybe Nurse thought he had got it in the gap for the boundary, so you didn't really see the urgency there. And he had a shorter distance to run because he gave the bowler the charge.
So I don't know how he felt about it, but from here now he fets Mike's. It sounded like it high on the bat, so I never thought it was going to go. But he obviously has good blades, so he trusted in it.
It's good delivery. Good area. It's full and wide. That's the modern strategy, bowling at the back end of the innings. I'm still a big fan of bowling into the block hole.
Me too.
That's the end of the 17th over. It's now 145 for 4. Nurse is on 23 off just 12 deliveries, and Brathwaite is on 47. To come, the captain Javon Searles, number 21.
See him in the front there in his helmet, ready to get going. He's actually looks like he's chomping at the bit. Seems like he wants to get in. This is a guy who's played CPL for Trinidad as well. So again, another guy who's played at international level and can really put the foot down. I call him an enigma. He scores in funny areas. He's an excellent fielder. He's the first person I've ever seen to take a catch from fine leg at one fine as well in front of the sight screen from a top edge out. And that was actually the batsman, so it's quite disappointing.
Yeah, fantastic athlete. But the focus is back on Nurse. He'll be seeing the finish line here. Charles will be under a bit of pressure.
Yeah, this is another spell here for Nikolai Charles. He's bowled his 4 overs, done 3 spells, which suggests that the skipper wants to use him in 4 overs, but he hasn't been able to really maintain the pressure.
I think he's got enough on that one.
Shot.
And again, holding the shape nicely there was Ashley Nurse. We talked about him heading to the deep mid-wicket area, but this time the shimmy towards the leg side and being able to hit the ball straight down the ground. Lovely shot to bring up the 150 for the Gladiola side.
And the 50 partnership as well. And this is where we spoke about the improvement of Ashley Nurse as a lower order attacking batsman. Being able to use his feet, keep his shape, struck that one beautifully down the ground for 6.
So good work done in the deep. Fielder having to go to his left, but the ball went so quickly down to that deep position. The batsman could only get 1 run. But it's all systems go here now for these 2 batsmen.
And they have 152 on the board, so they're in a real good position. Good edge.
Yep.
Brent with 50 as well for Braffett. So Braffett, Ronaldo Braffett goes to 50. And he'll be very, very happy with his work. He had his first, second, and third win. And he never, ever quit, the young man. As I said, good to see this man back in the park. You know, he's got a hug there from his teammate, Ashley Nurse. And he will be very, very happy. But once again, Nikolai Charles, he'll be unlucky there, but another expensive over, but good 50 by Braffett.
Yeah, take nothing away from young Braffett. He stayed the course. We spoke about the fatigue that may have crept into his game, but he's still there. He's out. Yeah, given out caught. So the end of a fine innings there from young Ronaldo Braffett. 51 he made, and he continues to be in good form for the Gladiola side whenever he's available. He missed a couple of matches in the preliminary stage after starting quite well, and they're just trying to be a little clever to get the ball down to the 3rd man position and being given out caught at the wicket.
Yeah, nice take there by the keeper as well, because as you said earlier, Nikolai Charles has a leg spin action. That's where it ends as terms of leg spin going. So another quick delivery, but Braffett looking to score in that 3rd man region once again. Extra bounce. And again, no, the ball not spin away, but came in, tucked him up, and got a faint edge, seeming to be off the back of the glove. A juggling effort there by the keeper by the end, the catch taken. And they will be happy to see the back of Ronaldo Braffett, who's been in for a little bit. His 51 coming from some 40 balls, so strike 127.5. So he'll be happy striking some 2 4s and 3 6s. So job done by him, and for the Gladiola team, not bad because there's a little fatigue in him, but what they have now are 2 guys with first-class experience, CPL experience in 2020 format, in Javon Searles, the captain who's just come to wicket, and Ashley Nurse. And these 2, with we make it 13 deliveries left in the innings, will be expected to really put the hammer down.
Well, look for Javon Searles and the improvisation. Loves to improvise.
Yeah, that's one.
Off the mark immediately, doing the right thing to get Nurse back on strike. And you spoke about the strike rate of Brathwaite, but Ashley Nurse, as the 18th over has come to an end, 157 for 5. We spoke about Ashley Nurse, whose 30 runs have been off just 15 deliveries, so his strike rate is one of 200. Gladiola would love for him to maintain that strike rate all the way through
Yeah.
to the end of the innings.
For certain. That's what we expected really of Ashley Nurse, because he is the guy we said from the beginning. They started heavy at the top. Kadeem Allen, Cody Phillips, and Martin Nurse are no slouches. Those guys will go heavy every day, no matter the conditions, they'll go hard. But what I liked about the way the Gladiola side is structured, they then had Ronaldo, Braffett, and Devon Phillips, who, although aren't big hitters, it's good to see the crowd and some youngsters in. See my good friend Marva Cambridge there, she's the Maple scorer to the front there, and the armholes there, and I think she's the Maple scorer, so good to see her out watching the cricket, and some youngsters here. I would like to say they're in their masks, but they aren't wearing them correct, but they brought them.
So it's going to be Roshan Primus coming back into the attack, just a solitary over so far. As we said, that he's quite adept at bowling at the end of the innings, known for his Yorkers.
But it'll be interesting, sorry, to see how it goes, because remember, up until today, he's only bowled 6 overs in this competition, so he hasn't had a lot of work at all.
Well, you can see from that first delivery, I don't think that Javon Searles was overly impressed with that first delivery. It was a full pitch delivery, which can happen, you know, coming back into a spell and looking to go for that Yorker. Not everyone is able to do it first up, and then maybe searching for that Yorker, just over pitching. And I think high up on the blade there for Javon Searles, he had a peep at the square leg umpire, checking for the height of that delivery. Good change up on that occasion. And really that's how the T20 game now has really evolved, and has asked bowlers in particular to be less predictable and to obviously display a wider range of delivery. So we see a guy like Roshan Primus, heavy set guy that can bowl a fairly sharp delivery, also has a good Yorker, but showing his experience there when able to bowl a slightly slower delivery and deceiving Ashley Nurse. This time just missing the length, not quite getting it in that block hole, and if it's shy of that block hole, Ashley Nurse is going to jump all over that delivery.
Yeah, I was just going to say the strike zones of these new era players is so vast, and when you get down to the depth where they have a license really to go helter-skelter, you know, they can put you under pressure. What's interesting is cricket has evolved. You go into the next session now, and this kind of batting and playing next session is not accepted. There was a time where coaches would put you out for doing this and failing and getting out 3 or 4 times, but now it's acceptable in practice. So these guys have been doing this day in and day out, week in and week out.
I think that one was there for hitting again, and I just wonder if it was a fraction slower than Ashley Nurse expected. He seemed to get through the shot a little bit quicker, and this is a part of Primus's game that he has to be very careful. Sometimes he just loses his focus and puts a little bit of pressure on that front crease. And we know, Pedro, anytime the umpire goes up and looks at that line, there's a fair chance that you were very close at overstepping.
Yeah, pretty much. You're pretty much asking. Sometimes you've just overstepped. You're like,
Just bring your foot back, boy.
Bring your foot back.
Bowled again.
So not bad, a big 6, but only 7 runs so far from 5 deliveries. So he'll be happy with that, but still 7 deliveries left in the innings. And with these 2, you probably expect they'll be able to go at 200, strike with 200. That'll give them another 14 runs minimum. So they'll look to close off here at least 178. The score now being 164 for 5. So they'll hope to close off here on a positive note. But whatever it is now, we come to a final and he runs on the board. That scoreboard pressure.
So Primus will be very pleased with the finish of that over. And this is one of the reasons that Ashley Nurse sometimes can be a little bit infuriating, because he struck the 6, but then there are 4 dot balls to follow. So not the ideal situation for Gladiola. His strike rate is still very impressive because he's such a boundary hitter, but he will feel as if he wasted part of that over.
Yeah, but the thing, if you look at Ashley Nurse there, what he did when he came under pressure, he went back to what he knew, trying to slug the ball into the leg side. Remember, there was a straight six from Nicolai Charge, there was a straight six just now from Roshan Primus, but once those dot balls started to creep in, the pressure, you know, his mind kept telling him to hit the six, hit that six, and he went back to what he knew, looking to go into that leg side. He even tried the slog sweep. So it can happen, but real kudos there to Roshan Primus to be able to, after being struck for that six, to keep his composure, mix the length up, vary the space, and in the end capped off what could have been a big over for the Gladiola side. Ended up being a fantastic over for Wanderers.
So, Diego Stroh and his Wanderers team. There's the reserves on the side.
There's Nico Rifa standing there. He was the person to the right of your screen, and on the left will be Ray Matthews. Ray Matthews is the inner of this team so far this year. Had a couple of good games out. Come off the fun, he's found himself. He has a new hairdo. I haven't seen the Ray's new hairdo. And for those who don't know, he's the brother of Haley Matthews. Hate to have to keep to say it, Ray, but he's the brother of Haley Matthews.
Yeah, she's a little bit better known than he is. So McAllister back into the attack. That one is hoisted into the leg side of the fielder, getting under it and drops the catch. Not only does he drop it, but he allows a second run because the recovery was so poor. So not good work at the end of the innings here for Wanderers, not supporting their bowlers. And you can see McAllister going back to his mark there. He's obviously not impressed. Now, the young man must not let that affect his composure. I mean, he has to stay focused. It wasn't a bad delivery. He didn't quite get it into the block hole, but he was obviously disappointed that the catch was taken. But that's gone now, and there we see Kirk Edwards coming over to him to just console him and probably reminding him that to remain focused at the job at hand. What has happened already is gone.
Yeah, his job is to bowl 5 deliveries.
So bowled. So bowled.
Now, once he releases the ball, and I always say this to bowlers, once you release the ball, unless it comes back to you, you have no control over the rest of that ball until it gets back to you. So you bowl the ball, you do your job, you go back. Fielders drop catches, you have a conversation with them. At the end of the day, you give them a tab. You know, they can make that up afterwards, but you deliver the ball, that's the end of your job. You have a job. There's a specific field set. You bowl the field set with the captain, you bowl that, and that's that.
Oh dear, that's the Cardinal sendo, bowling a no ball at any stage of a 20 over, but certainly in the final over, when you're looking to put a wrap on the innings, you've now offered up a free hit to the batsman.
See, we have a replay come here of that drop catch. Javon, so set deep in the crease, seemed to be off the bottom of the bat, so no real distance or elevation. What should have been an easy catch seemed to struck him in the mouth and in his chest, so it was never in any control whatsoever.
Well bowled again. Pushing hard for the second run, but no chance there. So no real damage done there with the no ball. At least he came back quite well. Getting the ball in that block hole, and we still think that's the most effective area at the back end of the innings.
Yeah, I think the areas for scoring was that long off third man and final leg, really.
Again, that's going to find the sweeper. So this is turning out to be quite reasonable over in terms of economy for Jair McAllister. These last 2 deliveries just so crucial. That's well bowled again. Excellent stuff. Searle's probably suggesting that that might have been a bit of wide, but by going towards the leg side initially, he made it a little bit more difficult for himself to reach.
So 1 delivery left, 171 for 5. Full toss. And to just get a single down to looks to be Roshan Primus there on the boundary. So that will conclude the innings of the Gladiola team. 172. 172 for 5 at the end of the inning. So they'll be very, very happy. We've seen a lot of finals here. McAllister still having to be consoled by Kirk Edwards after that drop catch. But he's done his part for the day, because I don't think he will be expected to bat again. He usually bats pretty close to the end. So if he has to bat, that means the Wanderers team will be under pressure. Still upset there, McAllister. You see how much effort he's put into his work here today. But in the end, 172 for 5 will be a score in which that the Gladiola team, with all their bowling resources, and Miguel Cummins, Demario, Goodman, Jamar, Trotman, Corey Miller, Ashley Nurse himself, and sometimes even Javon Serves. I haven't seen a lot of that recently, but their bowling resources will suggest they have a target in which they should be able to defend.
And let's start with that last over from Jair McAllister, just going for 8 runs in the over. So he should be very pleased, although we see him just chomping at the bit there and kicking the turf as he left the field. But 8 runs for the last over of the innings, I think, is highly commendable. And that total of 172 for 5 at the end of 20 overs, I think that Wanderers have come back very well from the halfway stage. We thought that Gladiola were well on course to score something in the region of 180, and that wasn't the case. Here we see the first wicket going by the run-out route. Direct hit from the field at short third man, and there Phillips was not very impressed. He wasn't in agreement with the umpire for that decision, and that was really the lift that the Wanderers team wanted, because the opening pair were really starting to go after the attack. Actually, it was Kadeem Aline who was the one who was run out for 16, and that gave the Wanderers time, just aside a little bit of an opportunity to settle, because they seemed a little bit rattled early on, and that start certainly gave them a chance to regroup. We saw Niles in the opening spell where he was struck for 6, and then there we saw Cody Phillips looking to repeat an earlier shot for 6, not getting the same elevation, and the catch was smartly taken there by Kirk Edwards at this short fine leg position. Roshan Primus came into the attack, and he got some rough treatment there from Ronaldo Braffett to start with. We saw one of the earlier 6s, and Kirk Edwards coming into the attack with his occasional off spin. Saw him getting the wicket early on, and then this should have been another one where the catch was spilled in the deep. The left arm spin of Rashawn Williams then got the wicket. Well judged catch there by Diego Stewart, where he got the wicket of Devon Phillips just when Gladiola were trying to get a partnership together. And we saw some big shots from Ronaldo Braffett, certainly making a mockery of the big ground here at Kensington Oval. We used the comparison with the Rice's Field, and there we saw 3 of his big hits going into the stand for the maximum. Nikolai Charles, the bowler who was feeling the pressure at that stage, Ashley Nurse getting into the action with his log sweeping and getting the ball into the stands. And just at that stage, you saw the acceleration from the Gladiola side, and you felt that a score in excess of 180 was certainly on the cards. But you have to give credit to Wanderers. They held their nerve. They were able to really affect that acceleration, and in the end, they were able to restrict the Gladiola side to 172 for 5. Kadeem Aline got 16 at the top, Cody Phillips 2, Martin Nurse 33, Ronaldo Braffett 51, Devon Phillips 10. Ashley Nurse was 38 not out of 22 deliveries, and Javon Searles 7 not out of 7 deliveries. The Wanderers bowlers, they use some 7 bowlers, and a wicket each for Jordan Niles, Nikolai Charles, Kirk Edwards, and Rashawn Williams. You would think that the pick of the bowlers with the surprise bracket of Kirk Edwards, who bowled his 4 overs and took 1 for 25. Ian Boyce probably was a little bit underbowled. He just bowled 2 overs for 13 runs. But this is where wonders were spoiled for choice. They said they used some 7 bowlers, and they have the combination of their quicker bowlers in Niles, McAllister, and Primus, and the slow bowlers of Roshan Williams, Kirk Edwards, Ian Boyce, and Nikolai Charles. So they've got that combination, and I think they did really well to restrict the Gladiola side to 172.
Yeah, so it was a good effort there in the end. Both teams will be pretty happy. Pretty. So both teams, as I said, sorry about that little break in transmission. Both teams really would have been looking really at this innings and think that the Gladiola team will think they have a good score. The Wanderers team will think with the start which the Gladiola had, that they were able to control some of those middle overs. A little too many boundaries being struck in those middle overs. But in the end, we are in the final. 172 runs on the board has been a challenging total for most of this tournament. There have been a couple of 200-run innings, but 172 runs in the final will be a very big ask. And it will be very, very interesting to see how they apply this run chase. They'll need to get off that power play without too much damage, but they'll also need to have a good strike rate going into that power play. So just a minute earlier, you heard from Stephen Leslie, the manager for marketing and communication. And just a minute, you're going to hear from, it looks like we're going to have lined up President Conde Riley, and he's going to be speaking with Barry Wilkinson, and then we'll hear from Calvin Hope, who's the vice president. He's also the marketing, he's chairman of the marketing committee here at the Barbados Cricket Association. So we're going to have a couple of those interviews lined up where the president will be able to tell us about the plans for Barbados cricket going forward, coming out of this pandemic 2020, 2020, 2021, and where they see local cricket going in the next few minutes. So we're going to have Barry Wilkinson, who's standing by with Conde Riley, and that he will be first up. Mr. Riley, remember the BCA, with a new slogan, new marketing campaign, and they are ready to take it away. So standing by. We're not getting Barry yet. Yeah, I just want to play. Okay, we just want to pass.
I'm with President of the Barbados Cricket Association, Conde Riley. First of all, President Riley, congratulations on implementing some cricket amid some very tough times around the world.
Yes, as you know, COVID was an unprecedented disease. Became a pandemic, and when we sat down with the board, the government had already put some protocols in place. And yeah, we met with the clubs of Barbados, all of them from elite to second division, got their input in terms of what we should do. Some of them wanted to play a longer version, but at the end of the day, the board decided to go for a T20. And you can tell, like, from the plate, the shield, the crowds have been pretty encouraging.
Financially, how has it been in terms of the board having to spend a lot of their money since a lot of the tournaments have not received big sponsorship like in previous years?
Yeah, COVID led to our main revenue sources, the lotteries, and with the arcades being closed and so on. Our revenues dipped by like 75%. But we decided that cricket had to be played. And once we met with the clubs, we had 1, 2, 3 meetings with the clubs. the board then decided we would go for a T20. Fast, quick, out of the things. We also devised our protocols, quite comprehensive. We shared them with all the other territories in the region as well, because we felt that, having had to do it, it didn't make sense, reinventing the wheel. And so far, everything has gone very smoothly. The crowd is fantastic. Last week we had the plate, and we had a very good crowd. And today it seems as though we've tripled that. So I'd say that the board can be justly proud of the effort that they put in to at least put on some cricket.
There's one more week of cricket, and I put this question earlier to Stephen Leslie, but perhaps you may be able to shed some more accurate light. 2021, what kind of cricket are we going to be seeing here in terms of international teams, if any, coming, and also local and regional cricket? What's the plan for that for next year, which is just around the corner?
Well, the international cricket depends on Cricket West Indies. And with borders being closed and there's a new spike with the COVID pandemic, and I'd have to wait. We have a board meeting coming up next week, I think it is, and see where President Scarrett and the board wants to go. And I think there are 3 teams that are supposed to come here, 3 international teams. South Africa, Pakistan.
Sri Lanka?
Sri Lanka, yeah. So we have to see how it goes. We should get some more information at our board meeting next week.
And the Super 50 tournament, that has not been played here in a couple of years, but is usually very competitive when it is. Will that be coming to Kensington Oval?
The Super 50 was played last year, in fact this year in St. Kitts and Trinidad, with some challenges.
Well, there was no Super 50 this year. I think you mean last year. This year there's been no regional cricket.
Right. So what we're trying to do now is to see financially how we can afford it. But Barbados is going to have our trials is going to be called the Cage Cup, where we play rather than just trials, we're playing for a cup. And our service providers with the lottery, I'd spoken to them last year, and they're willing to sponsor that. Once that comes through, we will have a kind of like semi-professional cup to prepare for the Super 50, which is supposed to come first, and then the 4-day. So still have to wait a bit to see what's going to happen coming out of the board meeting, whether Cricket West Indies want to put on or can afford to put on the Super 50. Now, I read that it will be in countries that have 2 international grounds. So that is what? St. Kitts, Barbados, Trinidad, Jamaica, and Guyana. Yeah, but it all depends on the financial viability of hosting it. If Cricket West Indies gets the sponsorship and so on, we'll be willing to help. But right now, as has been said, by Cricket West Indies, we owed a lot of money. I think between Trinidad and Barbados, we owed $2 million. And we have to juxtapose that with our local programs, the Center of Excellence and so on. That's a major cost. So we need to balance what we're doing domestically and what we can afford to do for Cricket West Indies. But we'll always be there for them. We are a shareholder and a part of it. But it's what's viable and what makes sense.
All right, President Conde Riley, thank you so much for your time. And all the best as we move forward. We're going to talk to the Vice President now. Of course, I'm talking about none other than Calvin Hope. He, of course, not only is a marketing man, he tells me he's a former youth cricketer for Barbados and he's still looking in pretty good shape. Attorney at Law, how are you doing?
I'm fine, thanks.
Now, I'm going to talk a little bit about this, one of the campaigns that you've helped implement. It's Fresh. How is it going so far?
Well, we haven't really launched it in its entirety. The background behind this is to really promote cricket, push cricket out into the community and across Barbados. As you know, Barbados, our cricket brand is traditionally, it's very strong. It has wide appeal, and traditionally Barbados cricket has been the benchmark of excellence from Barbados. and it's never really been promoted. Cricket basically sold itself. So we believe the time has come for us to have a more aggressive marketing approach to cricket and the brand. I mean, the brand is there, and I liken it to, say, like Ford Motor Company. Reliable, has great appeal, but in present day, your car has to be fully loaded, right? Leather seats, and you got to lift the brand and the product to market, taste, lifestyle. So all cricket has to come back to the center of national consciousness, and we have to, what some people say, monetize it. In other words, make it commercial. Every young cricketer in themselves would be a brand, within a brand. So we need to promote the cricketer, promote the up-and-coming ones, the ones who are playing for West Indies at this time, and maintain that legacy that we all know our cricket to be.
In terms of the actual game now, how do you find the competitiveness this year, seeing that, you know, a lot of these players might have not been as active because of the lockdown and that kind of thing? In your opinion, how do you find the competitiveness of the players?
Well, cricket has always been competitive on the field here. There's been a lot of enthusiasm this season, as usual. As you know, COVID-19 basically restrict us of what we could have done this year. Well, we felt that cricket had to be played, even though in a limited sense. But safety was the #1 priority for the BCA and the board. But all in all, I'm encouraged by the enthusiasm and the support that clubs have given to the program this year. It's been not a regular season, just a T20 format, and hopefully we can get back to close to normal next year.
Finally, as the Vice President of the board, what challenges have you faced now that you know there's less monies coming in? What challenges has the board faced at the moment?
Well, we've always have a challenge of money. Corporate sponsorship has been a bit stagnant. As you know, companies, COVID-19 has stepped in, but what we're doing is developing some platforms, redesigning our website, trying to bring more value to our sponsors, and building relationships. And our focus is not just to look inward in Barbados. We're taking a more global approach to BCA business, where in the future, Barbados must have a cricket calendar outside of Cricket West Indies. We can no longer just depend on a test match from Cricket West Indies. Barbados' profile in cricket globally is big enough and important enough that we can leverage our reputation to have a signature event, cricket event in Barbados annually. And watch out, it's coming.
All right, thank you so much, Calvin Hope, the Vice President of the Barbados Cricket Association. The umpires are back out into the middle, and let's go and see how now the Gladiola team will defend their total in this BCA Division 1 Elite T20 Cup.
Well, the Wanderers team, they decided that they wanted to chase. Now they'll have every opportunity to chase after they won the toss and elected to field. They'll have 173 runs to make if they want to be crowned victorious here today. The Gladiola team in the huddle at the ropes end, as is a customer. It's good to see Ronaldo Braff has been able to get himself up. I'm still here for Andy Walsh. He's had a pretty long stint, but he's going to have a break pretty shortly. But the cricket's been exciting, so I'm pretty sure he hasn't been bored. But This Gladiola team, as I said, lots of experience. Miguel Cummins, you'll see there in number 41, a former, well, it's not fair to say former because he's a West Indies, but he hasn't retired realistically. So a West Indies player, best performance of 6-4 against India will be his claim to fame. But this Kingston Oval trot is one which he has really come to fame in for. But when he's playing first class cricket for Barbados, he gets lots of bumps over his service, and he will want to look to set the impetus pretty early. You can see there also in that picture Martin Nurse with the gloves. He looks tired, but he has a job to do, and you'll expect to see, I think they'll probably open up here with Jamar Trotman. They call him Slick Rick, and he has proven to be a handful for a lot of players. So it looks like Miguel Cummins will start proceedings from the northern. It looks like it's Jamar Trotman. We'll see there just marking his run at the southern end. So I think the Gladiola team are pretty set in what they want to do. But they have to be careful because I remember Hindi going to Carlton to play a Fred Richards game and decided it was going to start with 2 pacers. And after Dale Richards got hold of that first over, we immediately changed plan and had to go to spin. So it could be a dangerous ploy setting your stalls up before balls being bowled. But they've decided that these two, and Cummins and Trotman, both marking their runs, so we have to wait still to see who will bowl the first delivery. So those two will definitely be starting proceedings. But interesting run chase to be had here this afternoon.
Yes, and I think the key here is the new ball, as you have said. Miguel Cummins with the new ball has the ability to ask some questions. I expect to see Gladiola going on the attack to try and, first of all, take wickets. Jamar Trotman, you spoke about, has been the real star for Gladiola with the ball. He's a former Wanderers player, so he will have a little bit to prove here in this particular matchup. He'll want to create an impression, and the best way to impress will be to get some wickets here early on. Miguel Cummins, as I said, with the new ball would be the key, so I think that the early exchanges here will give us some indication as to how this match is likely to go. From the batting perspective, Jason Grassman Green along with Roshan Williams will be opening the batting, and Jason Green has been proven to be quite explosive at the top of the order. He probably had to step down once or twice in this 20-over format when Craig Brathwaite was available and Shane Mosley. So I think they've been alternating the positions from time to time. But here in the final, he's been given the responsibility of leading the charge as Wanderers look to hold down this target of 173.
Now there's a slip in place already, so they'll expect Miguel Cummins with this new ball to extract some bounce.
Some early swing, so that's a wide, which means that the scoreboard is on the way for Wanderers. But I think for Cummins and Gladiola, I think the point that has really come to the fore is that he's able to get some swing early on.
Well, that's very encouraging. Good work there by Martin Nurse. It's not a role which she has grown up doing. It's one which she's obviously developed into, but good start to get going. Looks like there's a second slip which is coming to play.
Yeah, that first delivery was enough to influence the captain to offer a bit more support for Cummins. So that second slip going into position. Ashley Nurse that first slip, as you would expect, and the support there in the slip cordon. So some early movement there for Miguel Cummins. We didn't see the same type of movement for the Wanderers seamers early on. And it's interesting to see bowling from the northern end here at Kensington Oval to get the ball to swing away from the right-handed batsman. Jason Green may be looking to put Cummins off his length a bit by giving him the charge. But the way movement still proving to be his undoing.
Well, that second slip which you saw in place, Andy, is none other than Ronaldo Brathwaite. So you see what happens when you score runs. You get to get the slip card and save those legs for a little bit. The skipper's rewarded you with a fielding position in the 30-yard circle.
Again, the movement that would have been very close to a wide. Umpire Cisnet having a good look on that occasion. But Green probably saying to himself, well, let's see out the rest of this over without taking any more risks. The moving ball will always pose a challenge. I think that one is going to be a wide on this occasion, just starting a little bit too wide. And Cummins, obviously with the away movement, the inclination will be to try and just start that line a little bit straighter. Now, he doesn't want to overcompensate and start on the stumps and it doesn't swing, because then it becomes a free hit for the batsman on the leg. I shouldn't use the term free hit, but an easier shot for the batsman to score on the leg side. And the feel he has at the moment with those 2 slips, that he's got another 4 fielders on the offside, so not much population on the leg side, so he really wants to encourage the batsman to try and play the ball on the offside. So 2 wides in the over so far. So 2 runs to the total for Wanderers. Nothing off the bat as yet. I don't think the ball has hit the bat as yet.
I don't think so either. I think the keeper is the only ball that has felt the ball onto his hands so far.
Repetition. So, end of a encouraging over there. Oh no, so another delivery to go. Had the 2 wides in the over, but encouraging stuff there for Miguel Cummins. I'm just wondering if the temptation is there for the captain to maybe even put in another slip fielder just for the 1 ball. You would think it's worth the effort, worth the gamble. But these 3 men here, hoping that something will come their way. Keeper and the 2 slips. So satisfying over there from Miguel Cummins. And normally we see teams, captains giving the bowlers just 1 over at a time. Surely the temptation must be there to give him another over.
Oh, must be. There's been a lot of swing, but you know, we got to be careful now, because here comes the off spinner who'll probably lick all the lacquer off of the ball now. And then when he comes in to bowl, and his second over Miguel Cummins, then there is no swing at all and can easily pull away. But a good start for the Gladiola team. Just 2 runs from the first over, and those runs coming really in the extras column just wide. So another run off the bat so far.
Javon Searles and the Gladiola still looking to be on the attack. They're looking to take wickets, and I like that tactic, not just to sit back and just have a ring of fielders to defend runs. They've still got someone in a catching position. Ashley Nurse is going to position himself at slip. So Trotman coming into the attack with his off spin will be looking to drift the ball away from the right-hander. So looking to challenge that outside edge of the bat.
Yeah, but what a moment though. Not in the regular starting 11 for his former club Wanderers. He's going to open ball against them in the final.
It's gone all the way. That's an interesting delivery. Again, there was some drift. It certainly drifted away in the air, but it was on the full. And there was Williams, who was a tall man, being able to get the reach and hitting that one over cover. It was signal 4 by the umpire, but I actually think it has gone all the way. Yes, the umpire has now changed its signal, and the first 6 of the innings.
So Jamar Trotman, they call him Slick Rick. We'll have to do better than that first delivery.
Now that would have been a wide had Williams not made contact. And probably just, his eyes probably lit up, because with no sweepers on the offside in the cover area, it would have been very inviting for him to play that square cut and get another boundary. Martin Nurse is taking the bails off, having a bit of fun, bit of byplay with the square leg umpire, who's not overly impressed. But Trotman there with this style, we've seen this from Narang, where he runs up with the ball hidden behind the back. There's going to be a chance here. It's going to be a difficult one, almost a collision. There is a collision. and the ball has been dropped and into the boundary for 4. So calamity of errors there by the Gladiola side. One player is still down on the ground, is not getting up, and often we see these collisions and they're quite unfortunate there in this occasion. His teammates seem to think that he's going to be okay. Maybe he's just disappointed that he missed the catch.
Thankfully for him, there are 5,000 spectators not going to his stand. I'm certain he's been up a long time ago to get from there. But
I think that's your man Braffett again, isn't it?
Braffett again. He's definitely taking things today. I think that dive would have been his 4th win now, probably. But a gallant effort there by the 2 fields. And I think the cardinal error was made really primary schoolish, where no one really called. And then both players running back and looking to make a diving effort. And in the end, neither one of them could come up with a catch. And to add insult to the injury, the ball went into the boundary for 4. So the score now goes up quickly to 12. So some 10 runs already from this over.
At least thankfully no serious injury. Trotman would have been delighted to pick up that wicket. So 6 and a 4 in that over. And there's so 10 runs off that first over from Trotman. But again, we saw some encouragement there for him. Could have had the wicket of Williams, but not to be.
Unfortunately, as this 2020 format moves on so quickly, there aren't really a lot of deliveries or too many overs in which to get into your stride. So if you're a bowler, you need to be on the money right away. I think really looking at Trotman there, it looks like a bit of nerves really when he started. As I said, this Wanderers club is his former club. We know that Trotman is high energy and he's always exuberant and willing to go, but the pressure of the situation can sometimes get the better of you. You might try to do too many things. And I thought on that occasion he really had what in his, for him would be a pretty ragged over, but at the end the Wanderers team being able to capitalize to pick up some 10 runs to take themselves up to 12 loss after the first over. Green will be back on strike yet to get bat on ball.
In the air, but in the gap. So an opportunity here for a couple of runs. And again, we see that movement. Just as we were discussing it, Pedro, that Gladiola, not surprisingly, decided to give a second over to Miguel Cummins. And again, with that away movement, this time starting a little bit straighter. So it gave Green the opportunity to get some bat on ball. And not in a convincing fashion, but at least he'd be relieved to feel bat on ball.
Yeah, he had a lot of time to think about it between overs, and he came up with a plan, which was to get his foot on his back leg onto the off stump, making sure that any swing he was able to get a little bit closer. Not a lot of bat, no really good contact, but was able to pick himself up 2 runs as the slip has come out now to a cover position. So business as usual.
Yep, nice carry. And Javon Sears may be guilty of just ball chasing there by taking the slip out. You still think that that's a good, a likely area to get a wicket with the ball continuing to move like that, but he decided to plug the gap where the aerial shot was played 2 deliveries earlier. And Green probably still at ends as how best he can score off the moving ball from Cummins. It's going to be very close to a wide, but umpire reckons that is good enough, so maybe Cummins has decided, look, I'm not going to move from that spot.
I think he's experienced enough to understand, you know, although wickets are a critical component of any game, dot balls in this format are just as demanding, just as important. And if he can continue to build pressure here on Green, maybe we'll have him doing something rash.
Green has faced some 9 deliveries already for his 2. And he's trying just about everything here, just looking to shimmy across the stumps to get a little bit closer to the line. But again, the line where that is presented and where the ball is ending up is making it very difficult for him.
Yeah, and if you look at the Miguel Cummins action as well, it always suggests as if the ball will come in with that angle in which he produces on his delivery stride, but he gets the ball to straight, and which is something that's made him pretty successful in first class cricket. And Jason Green has played 3-day cricket. He should be able to combat this.
This is beautiful stuff from Miguel Cummins. Really showcasing his quality here as a new ball bowler. And he's been asked to perform a role for Gladiola at the death as well, which in my view is not his strong suit. This is really where Cummins is at his best.
Yeah, I
and
think
it just makes you wonder that second slip, you know.
There's old saying, you know, once the horse is bolted, it's too late to close the gate. Half an appeal there from Cummins.
Muted appeal. But even then, Green was not able to get bat on ball. So the struggle continues for Jason Green. It's the end of the third over. Wanderers 14 without loss. Green is on 2 of some 12 deliveries, and Williams on 10 after 6.
Yeah, so it has been a very interesting start. Now you mentioned the temptation, as you see the Wanderers batting camp there. They don't look too bothered really. Think they know they still have some batting in their wheelhouse. Kirk Edwards is there, the cap on, and still Roshan Primus, but they've been unable really to put together any form of attack, and it's been really interesting to see the way that they've gone about their run chase, but it will be Trotman to continue.
This time it's going to be called a wide. So we've seen that type of delivery from Trotman, starting wide of the stumps and going further away. It's more like an arm ball as opposed to an off spinner. And Williams has always been tempted to go after it. There's a ring of fielders on the offside and no one in the deep in that extra cover area. So maybe that's the temptation. This is where the frustration starts to build.
A lot of dot balls in the innings so
correct.
far.
Now he's made excellent contact with that. Everybody is looking aerial, and it's gone all the way for the maximum.
Yeah, you heard Nurse said to him before in the stop mics, once you pitch the ball on the length, they won't score. This occasion guilty of getting too full. It's really interesting, the two fielders which they've chosen to be outside the 30-yard circle. A deep mid wicket and a long off where there is absolutely no turn at all from Trotman. So once he gets the ball full, the batsman has so many areas in which he can score. This time he chose over Lawan, but if he gets any wider, as you mentioned, Hindi, there's a rare fielders on the circle on the offside, but there's no one on the sweeper boundary, and that would be another scoring option. So his length has to be very, very important. And I played with a guy, Jed Year, who was bowled the kind of field like this, but Jed is a lot quicker, and with Jed, you're being asked to play cut shots. Here with Trotman, really too full and easily put away.
Let's see how Trotman responds. And back on the length, just as you said there, Pedro, the length delivery seems to present a little bit more of a challenge for Williams. And that will get them going even more. It was the back foot shot, not with the vertical bat, with the horizontal bat, because it was so wide.
Yeah, and just the point we were making, no one to defend that boundary. So as long as the ball hits the gap, it's always going to be a boundary. So Javon serves with some thinking here really to do about where he wants to have these fielders set. As you see the cut shot, it's almost a catch actually, and it looks to be, who's the fielder? It looks like it was Phillips who would have been guilty on that occasion of not really coming up with a catch. But in the end, the Cardinals saying it went through and also went for a boundary. So some work to do. A fielding change now where there's a point which has gone down to the boundary. Just saw him out there with a shot, but the long off. Let's come out into the circle.
Animated appeal there from the wicketkeeper and the bowler.
Well, that was definitely not a half-hour appeal this time. They all thought that it was a catch. Ashley Nurse doesn't seem to be too convinced they had slip as calm as he usually is. But again, that back for length delivery which causes problems. It's not just the length, it's the line as well. He has to be back of length and in tight. And I'm suggesting this is why there's a forward mid-wicket in play, because they expect the batsman to be playing a pull shot.
Picking up an easy single there. The mid-on fielder just coming around to do the work. So a mixed bag there from Trotman. He continues to be expensive. His 2 overs have gone for 22 runs. Not much else happened at the other end. So the Wanderers batsman, and probably Williams more so, is trying to capitalize on the lack of support. I'm talking about support. Is our Central Bank of Barbados. A very imposing structure in the capital.
So it looks like the temptation, Hindi, which we spoke about, to go again with Cummins. You see Green, 2 from 12 balls. Williams, he is on, what are we making, 21? So Williams on 21 from 12, and Green 2 from 12. So you can definitely see the production rate, the difference between these two. But for the first time this innings, they've actually switched ends. So Williams will face up to Cummins for the first time. You can see that ring of fielders there for Cummins. But you know, with 2 catchers, then still no one really else tight on the single. See how Williams will do.
Williams would have seen a fair bit from the non-striker's end, and interestingly enough, that it was almost premeditated, where he was intent on leaving that ball alone if it pitched on the length and started to move. So again, he may see it as it's unlikely Gladiola will ask Cummins to bowl all the way through. So this is probably going to be the last over in this spell. Don't want to make any mistakes. If he can pick up a single or 2 somewhere along the line, or if Cummins happens to be off length, then you look to score. But at this point, I would think not to take any risk against Cummins. Oh, jeez.
Well, it's interesting because the delivery before was probably the one that had swung the less of all the received he's bowled. And this premeditated plan to use his feet with no real plan, because if you're expecting the ball to be swinging away, you're going to use your feet. You want to go where you think the ball will be going, so get yourself into the off stump. He came straight down, and I think everyone heard your discuss.
As a coach, you'd be asking him, what was your intention there? What were you really trying to do? Because it seemed like he was just going for a dander.
It's interesting. Cummins has now bowled what we make it 14 dot deliveries from his 15 balls that have been bowled so far. 15 balls should be, I think, 16. 15 balls and 14 dot balls. He's conceded 4 runs.
And 2 of those are white.
So unbelievable the way he's been able to maintain that pressure on the off stump.
And seeing that Green going to give a word of advice to Williams.
I missed mine. Don't miss yours as well.
Interesting. Seems a better option there to get back and across. As you said, go towards the movement of the ball. Ball going from leg to off. There we saw Williams going back and across, so making that effort to cover the off stump and even beyond to make some contact with the ball. Not the extravagant shot, but just dropping the ball into the offside for a single. So that's the next best thing. Ideally, you want to capitalize on the power play, go for the big shots. But with this type of bowling, it's not going to be as straightforward. So the next best thing is to try and alternate the strike. Let's see how Green responds. Oh, yes. So as caught on. Finally, it took them 3 overs to do it, but finally they realized there's another option here to try and score off Miguel Cummins. Now, if they do that a couple of times, there's only 1 ball left in the over, but can you imagine if that had been done in the first or second over from Cummins? He would then need to rethink his strategy. I don't think that Cummins will be happy with the batsman just getting singles so easily, especially with conditions where the ball it's being helpful. So we see the support there for Cummins, and I like that move again from the captain, Javon Searles. More support for Cummins in the slip cordon.
You know, I was just thinking, if you use your feet outside the off stump and the over comes still in 28 without loss from 5 overs. And I was just making a point, if I'm coach and you danger, I just could go for a danger down the wicket outside the off stump, and Cummins is good enough to slip one in, and you get leg before a ball, okay, well, hard luck, young man. But to be meandering down the wicket and outside the leg stump and missing the ball by a fair way, there was no future at all. And any of those attempts to use the feet. But Cummins, a really impressive starts. 3 overs, he's picked up none for 6. So again, the Wanderers team here haven't not lost any wickets so far in the power play, but they'll be very worried about their run rate, their production, and the way that they've been able to soak up so many deliveries. Hendy Wallace has had a really long stint. I'm going to speak to the executive producer.
Yeah, I showed my stamina.
Yeah.
not a word is associated with me.
Thank God for these tall stools. It didn't require too much stamina at all. But a good stint there by Hendy, a well-deserved break. And Barry Wilkinson will replace him in just a minute. And it looks like we're going to have our first bowling change. Quick delivery back down the leg side, and it's going to go for 4 wide. So the first boundary of the innings has come. Sorry, not the first boundary, sorry. The first boundary off a pacer, really, but the first real wild delivery down the leg side here by Kadeem Ali, and it's going away down to the boundary for 4 wide. So not a good start there by Ali, but a good result for the Wanderers side. We say welcome back to Barry Wilkinson.
Yeah, thank you very much, Pedro.
Wrapped on
Another
the
good
pad.
delivery. He's given him.
Oh, wrapped on the pad. The first delivery went down the leg side. This one on the foot, full and straight. Jason Green's wretched innings has come to an end. Wasn't able to put back on board at all today. The young man who's usually a very aggressive and pugnacious opener, not having a good time of it today. He's been leg before wicket for 3, and Gladiola, BWU Gladiola picks up their first wicket.
Yeah, a really good delivery. Full, straight, in the toes. And we've seen Green struggle all innings long. So tell the truth, he should have left him out there, because he was not scoring just what Gladiola would not have perhaps mind at that stage. But 33 for 1, we're in the 6th over. And coming to the crease now is going to be...
I'll tell you in just a minute, Barry. But all I can tell you, whoever has come to the wicket will have some batting to do.
Might be Jonathan Drakes, I think it is.
Because these two, at the beginning, yeah, looks to be Drakes. He's another one who's played first-class cricket, and he's been around for a little while, but has never really stamped his authority and, at this level. But a good player. These guys have made some interesting life choices, and we leave that there. But these guys will have a lot of work to do here. The Wanderers team, just 33 runs, and we're almost out of the power play.
Allen to continue. Oh, he's dropped it. Should have been a double wicket. But that has been put down, and Jonathan Drakes gets a life. A very good effort there from, looks to me like Jamar Trotman. Put it down. It should have been 33 for 2.
Yeah, but it seems as if Kadeem Allins looks like getting a bit of in-swing here, but well picked off the toes, but straight to a fielder, should have been caught.
Now he's off the mark. That should have been 2, Pedro.
Yeah, it should have been 2 quite easy. We've seen the quality of the running on display today, not at a very high standard at all, because the fielder from mid-on who had to go to his right was always going to be chasing that. And once he found himself behind the ball, it was the first single complete. That should have been an easy 2. Cody Phillips, and these guys should know Cody, a slide was never ever going to come. So that should have been 2 runs. But I think Roshan Williams sees himself here as the pinch hitter. He wants to have some more of this power play.
How do you see him assess working the ball in terms of the ones and the twos vis-a-vis going for the big hits in the power play?
Well, I think both have a very important role to play. In the power play, with the field restrictions in place, just 2 fields of the circle, you try to capitalize wherever possible with boundaries. But as we saw when Gladiola batted, if there's a boundary on offer, you must have a plan B. You must look for singles in the circle. Rotation of strike and lack of dot balls, very important.
This is good bowling from Kaneen Aline. He's managed to get the ball in the right areas.
Yeah, it seems to be a bit of in swing and in cut inward movement off a length and also full. He's been able to tuck both these batsmen up. And again, the seamers here for the Gladiola team seem to be doing a really good job. Remember, they play on a very small ground. So if you're going to be a seamer at that size ground, your links have to be very important. So they've come through this tournament, seem to have learned pretty quickly the links to bowl.
That must have had some bat on it, because I thought that was another good delivery right down on the foot again. So we've got 6 overs gone. They need to get 173. And they're 36 for 1. How do you see the match at this particular stage? Who is out front?
Well, I think at this stage, Gladiola will be very much in front, and the happier of the two teams, really. That power play has done them really no damage at all. To come out of that power play, just 36 runs conceded, they've picked a wicket up, and they have still not had, they've been not put under pressure to have to turn to like the likes of Ashley Nurse or to have to go to Cody Miller or any of those guys. And then you have a guy like Demario Goodman who will come into play at some time pretty soon, I'm sure, and he will be one that will be expected to continue to bowl tight. As I said, no pressure being put on the BWU Gladiola bowling side to make changes, so they've been able to stick to a script which they left the dressing room with, and everything so far for the BWU Gladiola team is going to plan.
So we're going to have another bowling change, it looks like. Conditions here at Kensington have been pristine, and we've got a good crowd on hand. I know you perhaps can't see the crowd, but just below us in the 3W stand is a very good crowd down there. You can hear the noise perhaps and the effects, but it'll be good to see how good a crowd it is.
Demario Goodman.
It's going to be Demario Goodman. Good start, emphasized by his name.
He's always BDS Sports program. He's had a really good season last year, and he just wants to continue the good work he's been doing for his BWU Gladiola team.
He reminds me of that left arm spinner, went foundation, went to also play for Wonders. I'll give you his name in a minute.
I think I know you mean his name. As I said, the names don't take step on the down.
Oh, that's gonna just go to fine line for 1. Still a long way to go in this match, Pedro, because what you want is a competitive game. Whoever wins, you want it to be competitive. You want it to go down to the wire. Bowl him. Well bowled. He played all over that shot. Took his eyes off the ball. And you have to say that Goodman deserves that.
Yeah, the pressure really building up there on Williams. He had a good start. First over, he capitalized on some loose bowling, picked up a 6 and a 4. Then he had a 6 in the third of the innings over Lawan. But ever since then, the struggle for him has been real. And Demario Goodman, who's always on and about the stumps, who's always been attacking left arm off spinner, this occasion. He bowled a couple of arm balls, but this one he threw it up and looking to go down the ground with Williams all around that one, and was comprehensively bowled. So good result here for the Gladiola, BWU Gladiola team. They've kept runs down, and now they're beginning to reap the reward by picking up a couple of wickets.
37 now for 2 in the 7th over, 2 balls left. So this is where, for me, it gets interesting for Wonders, because Roshan Primus, Diego Stewart, Kirk Edwards, but I don't know if the other batsmen have it in them to be match winners. Not that they can't bat, but you're talking about match winners. It has to be one of these three to take it home right down to the end.
Yeah, for certain. And the thing about those batsmen you've called, they both have that ability to score quickly, and that's what's going to be required pretty soon, because the required run rate is going up pretty quickly, and they'll need guys who have not just the ability to score quickly, but they'll need some guys with staying power, guys who can score quickly but over a long period of time, because as you rightfully said, a lot of time left in this game. Too early really to call a winner, but right now I think the Wonders team will have their head, the Gladiola team will have their heads far in front and be looking to really turn for home.
I agree with that, Pedro Agard. So Goodman to Roshan Primus. Off the mark straight away. Roshan Primus in his very first match this year against Maple had an excellent all-round performance. He had a 4-wicket haul, he had 50. Then he had an injury.
Last season when it got down to demotion relegation, he was instrumental then as well.
Bowled him again! This is really good stuff from Demario Goodman. Outfoxed Drakes, had him on the back foot, and Wonders in trouble now. 38 for 3.
Yeah, they call him Tuki, and there's a reason why, because he has a magnificent variety really. He always spins the ball, but here today, he's not really attempting too much spin. And again, I always say, Barry, when you come to Kingston Oval, you don't realize the little millimeters, the little parameters in which things can happen. Normally on other pitches where around the country we're a little bit slower, you can get back to the that and punch them into the offside. At Kingston, the ball seems to always slide on. There's always that hustle, so you have to be a little bit quicker, a little bit sharper with your footwork once you get here. And you saw Jonathan Drakes being guilty of that really. Very lazy and nonchalantly looking to punch the delivery into the offside, but that, again, that speed off the surface, being his downfall. So another good wicket there for Goodman.
You're right, you're so right, Pedro. And I think that's where it comes to batsmen assessing the situation and the conditions of the match, conditions of the wicket, conditions of how the pitch is playing. Sometimes you just get the feeling that the match awareness is not what it should be. You've got to do your homework. But well bowled, Goodman, 2 wickets in the over. 7 overs gone, 38 for 3. Don't forget the magic total is 173, which looks miles and miles away.
Well, they have 2 good players in. Kirk Edwards, who's at the non-strikers end.
Kadeem Alling to continue. Kadeem Alling bowling some really good Yorkers and getting the ball right up to the bat. So this is where Wonders must now seize the initiative, like what happened with Martin Nurse and Ronaldo Brathwaite. That partnership they had was from 23 for 3, and they took this total to 80. They now need to take this total from 38 for 3 to something similar, even beyond. That's whipped out to mid-wicket. Two very experienced batsmen at the crease. Kirk Edwards, of course, like I said earlier, former West Indies player. Roshan Primus has played for Barbados, Trinidad and Tobago. He's played regional 4-day cricket. He's played a lot of CPL cricket. Didn't play this year, got injured, and wasn't given an opportunity to get into the side. Sometimes you hit it too straight and that's not good.
Yeah, but well played there by Primus, presenting the full face really. And what I liked about this shot from Primus, there was no panic really. He saw delivery which maybe on another day he would have tried to hit down the ground for a maximum, but trying to control the innings here. He has the experience. He's used to scoring runs. He has to temper and maintain the rhythm. He has to find a rhythm to his innings.
Just one.
So Kirk Edwards will face his first delivery. There's been some in-swing here for Academy Allen, and that has been a problem throughout the career really of Kirk Edwards. It's been one of the reasons why he had a real fall away from form. He's opened up his stance here, looking to combat that. So Kirk Edwards gets off the mark, so they're beginning to mount some sort of resistance. These two being able to at least get the ball off the square into the outfield. Rotation of strike, production is what they require. Boundaries will come. There aren't too many cricket games where boundaries aren't scored, but the production in between there was really going to be important.
If Wonders don't do anything silly, Pedro, and I mean in terms of panicking, and just cool things down, I think they will be able to fight themselves back into this game. Because Gladiola is on top now, there's no doubt about that. 43 for 3, 8 overs gone. Primus has got 5, Kirk Edwards has got 1. What's the name of that church there, Henry? Pedro?
Why are you trying to put me under pressure? Are you?
Just asking a question. That's St. Michael's Cathedral, isn't it?
I will have to go along with you. I'm pretty certain. I'm not au fait with churches at that height. I usually see them from the door when I'm going in and get that high. But that required rate has gone up to 10.68. So as I said, lots to do, but lots of time in which to do it.
So this is what I'm talking about where Wonders are concerned. If you try to rush it, if you try to force things that are not there, you're going to continue to give Goodman the upper hand. And that's what he wants. This is really excellent bowling from Demario Goodman.
It's amazing how left-arm spinners have come to the fore in cricket. You know, any team now with a left-arm spinner always sees him like gold dust. They hardly ever go for runs, and ever since batsmen have been given out leg before on the forward defensive, they've become even more potent.
Should just be one. And it's just a single. They're behind the run rate. Required run rate is 11.2. They don't want that to mount any further. It's very high already. I would say they need a couple of sixes, some boundaries to just ease that pressure a little bit, because the pressure is now mounting on them, and if it gets insurmountable, it's a good night nurse in every sense of the word for Gladiola.
Yeah, they need. It's about planning the innings here. They need to have the momentum going forward. So they're going at 5.18 now. They need to up the ante, get it up to about 7 over for a couple of overs, and then increase. See, that won't help.
Definitely not. Further adds pressure.
So the thing about this 2020 game is that every dot ball you see that require rate just keeps going up quicker and quicker. Ball down.
Oh, he's bowled him! Demario Goodman. 3 wickets and all the same way, and Wonders are in tatters. 44 for 4, and Goodman is the talisman at the moment.
As I said, he bowls a good arm ball, and everyone in Barbados knows that. But I think what they've always forgotten is this young man's ability to spin the ball. He's good enough to spin the new ball. So if he comes in after 6 or 7 overs when there's some lacquer off the ball, he will prove to be even more of a handful. And he's really, really set the caliber of the pigeons here, because Kirk Edwards is a base cap. anytime cricket is going to play in Barbados, even the region, when you pick Kirk Edwards up, it's a base cap because he has scored runs at this level and internationally. He's been good enough to have a test hunter so he can play. So the captain, Diego Stewart, who makes his way to the mill, will have a lot of work to do. His team are really looking down the barrel. They aren't being able to mount on the fence, but they continue to lose wickets with Demario Tukey Goodman, as you rightfully said, Barry, being the talisman here today.
Yeah, he's got 3 for 3. And he hasn't even bowled 3. He's 1.5. He's really been the person, I guess, that they didn't have their eyes on. Many people would have been thinking, well, Ashley Nurse is going to bowl his 4, bowl tight. Demario Goodman has just sneaked in there and has bowled all 3 of the scalps he's picked up. Jason Green early went LBW to Ali for 3. And then Rashawn Williams, Jonathan Drakes, and now Kirk Edwards, all bowled by Goodman for 23, 3, and 1 respectively. The new batsman is the captain, Diego Stewart.
Now, Diego Stewart is one of these guys, he always looks to score over the offside. So if that arm ball from Goodman being presented, it will be very interesting. As I said, they spin for Goodman. So another good over completed there. Over number 9, 44 for 4. Diego Stewart, new to the crease, just faced some wonder he hasn't scored. And Roshan Primus is not on 6. That required run rate is now gone up to 11.73 by.
High, very, very high. And it's something that the batsman is going to be cognizant of. However, he would not want to lose any more wickets. Gladiola team and the bunker, they're looking very confident at this stage.
As you can see, Orbital there with shades on his head. So it's an interesting position in which Wanderers find themselves in. They need to take some kind of a chance to score, but that risk cannot be too big of a risk. They need to play percentage cricket here. They need to probably go 60-40 in their range at this stage, 7-30 even. They can't just sit back and wait for a bad ball to score from, but they can't be too erratic either.
This is exciting stuff from Gladiola, showing why they're in the final.
Yeah, they've been good. Remember, they beat the 4 or 5 time champions UW in the semi-final at their home ground, and they did it just as they're doing here by applying lots of pressure in the field with this bowling unit.
Well, he's got that through. He will go to the boundary.
Phillips.
Would you believe it or not, we've only had 2 4s, 2 6s in this entire innings for Wanderers. They've really struggled. Primus there, he's on 8 from 11. Stewart has yet to get off the mark, but he's only faced 1 ball.
Ooh.
They're peeling, they're peeling.
What a delivery, what an amazing delivery for Kadeem Ali. He's been bowling full of a length deliveries, swinging back. This one, he just pulled the length back, and what seam movement back, and a lovely take there by Martin Nurse behind the stumps. As I said, wicket-keeping is not a forte in which he came up during his cricketing career doing. So he's really developed into this role, and a really good take there by him. So another good delivery there from Kadeem Ali. And it isn't just that there's swing and seam. He's won at a pretty decent pace. So Roshan Primus not really being able to deal with that delivery, but no harm in the end done. He lives to fight another day.
Although that's a wide, they've taken another run. You've got to say, good keeping again, because that could have easily gone down to the boundary.
Yeah, I think Martin Nurse, whatever the outcome here, he'll be happy with his work behind the stump so far, although Ashley Nurse is giving a little bit of a ribbon, asking him to just skip to his left and glove. Ashley Nurse is actually enough. You know, when he's not playing cricket competitive, when you see Ashley Nurse in any friendly game around the island. He usually keeps wicket, and he's a very, very competent keeper. Very good up to the stumps. So he can definitely give Martin Nurse a tip or two. Sure, remember, he likes to score through the offside. This will be interesting. Good change up there by Ali, not being predictable. Goes for the shot ball early. Signal one shot ball for the over. From the umpire, so good change up. As I said, Diego Short, not a slouch. He's an all-rounder, usually used to open bowling for the Wanderers team, but injuries and different things have curtailed that. But he's captain of the side. He's more than competent batsman, really. But again, the side under pressure, needing to score, he'll have his hands really full here this evening.
Singles are not going to do the trick, I'm afraid. Getting 2 runs there. Should have just been a single. Miguel Cummins was not clean on picking it up at all, and they were able to sneak in a second. The 50 comes up, but Wanderers are struggling. That's no indication that they're sailing. They're 50 for 4, 9.5, needing 173. Current run rate is 5.08, but the required now has gone into the 12s. It's 12.1. So they're under tremendous pressure. And they need a captain's knock from Diego Stewart and Roshan Primus. So halfway stage, 10 overs gone. Wanderers are 51 for 4, needing 173 to win. As they take a little break there with the, I can't even say the water cart. You don't see the water cart anymore. That's a now defunct position in cricket. But Jason Green was LBW to Aline for 3. Rashawn Williams was bowled by Goodman for 23. Jonathan Drakes was bowled by Goodman for 3. And Kirk Edwards was bowled by Goodman for 1. So Daryl Goodman, the left-arm spinner, doing the damage, leaving Roshan Primus on 8 and Stewart on 3. We've had Miguel Cummins so far, his 3 overs, very economical, just costing 6 runs. Jamar Trotman, his 2 overs, just costing 22. Kadeem Aline, 3 overs, 1 for 20. And then the man with the magic arm, left-arm spinner Daryl Goodman, 2 overs, no maiden, 3 for 3 for his impressions so far. Here's the former Maple, Central, and many other hats that he's played in clubs he's played for. Pedro Agard.
I'm happy to have only played for 2 clubs. I wear that.
Only Maple and Central? Pedro?
Only Maple and Central. Only 2 clubs I've ever played for. I'm a man with stability. Yeah, but I think the BWU Gladiola team definitely the team in front here, and the team who will have so far one hand on this trophy. The only way they can lose here is if they're beaten. They have to beat themselves really, but it will take a mammoth effort from the likes of Diego Stewart. Roshan Primus has it in him, but the bowling so far for the Gladiola, BWU Gladiola team has been really impressive. There was some loose stuff at the start by Jamar Trotman, unusually, so he's usually tight on top, couple of loose deliveries which Williams capitalized on, but Miguel Cummins, what a fantastic start to his spell. Some 18 deliveries bowling, which he bowled 15 dot balls, so they weren't able to get back on ball at all, and that in itself has caused the problems really for the Wanderers team. The amount of dot balls which they have soaked up in the pursuit of his 173 to find themselves at 51 for 4, and they've lost a lot of their most of their top order, and with a current run rate right now of 5.1 and requiring 12.20 for the remainder of the innings, unless they do something spectacular to bring that down, suggests that they'll have to back out of their skins, and they'll have to put up one of those bad performances that all you viewers here on this network watching this broadcast will never ever forget. It will be a mammoth effort if they can pull this one off, but it's not over yet. 10 overs to score the remaining runs, and they'll back themselves here as they have to at this stage to pull off a victory.
So Goodman to start his 3rd over. In fact, I'll tell you this, Mohamed Irfan is the last ball I saw here. He bowled in a CPL game for Barbados Tridents. 4 overs, 3 maidens, 1 for 1. Inside out, carved for 4. Not a good start to the over. And Diego Stewart saying, I'll take some of that.
Well, I did say even before he faced the ball, that is going to be his mode. He will look to score inside the over cover. That was a tossed-up delivery with some turn on it. Not a lot of turn, but enough that Diego Stewart could go to his strong area. Now, what happens here is that Demario Goodman has a pretty good arm ball as well. So Diego Stewart has to be mindful of that and be very careful. Good start to the over for him, though.
In the air, dropping short. I think he was indicating that the sun might have just been in his eye.
And I think Cody Phillips. Yeah, he might have just misjudged that. Sometimes here at the Kensington level with the background,
Yeah.
you know, you have to really sell yourself to pick the ball up.
If you were batting, would you say to the non-striker, look, let's see this spell off?
No, he's in a good rhythm. For me, now it would be maneuvering the ball from into the outfield, looking for ones, couple of twos. I haven't said that, Barry. I only have one gear as well, so I'll probably go for the hills to myself. But you have to have a plan. Me personally think the way to bat left handsman is always stay on the leg stump, take your pads off the equation and have a free hit.
Yeah, ones and twos are not going to do it for wonders. The required run rate now is inching up to 13. One ball left in the 11th, 57 for 4. Well, that's a clever little shot. Good fielding as well.
And if you're going to dive for the first time in your career, should be at Kensington Oval. It's a brilliant outfield.
Yeah.
So Cody
it's the best
Phillips.
place to dive.
No, it's the best place to dive. So Cody Phillips there bringing up the dive to complete. Warrior at over number 11, 59 for 4, short on 10. Primus really stuck there. He's on 9 from 15 balls, so a very unlike Roshan Primus innings here. But he's been in, he's had the opportunity to assess situations, and at some point, he's going to have to pick a bowler to put the hammer down.
I think he said, you know, look, if we lose another wicket here now, I don't think we can win this. So he knows how important a role his wicket is. He has to play a Mahendra Singh Dhoni kind of innings where he takes it down to the end. Because if he gets out, I don't see Wonders having any semblance of a chance of winning this. He holds the key. And speaking of which, we've got now Mr. Gladiola himself. Ashley Nurse is going to come on to bowl. So more pressure now Wonders. And they're going to have to take the bull by the horn because they can't just keep seeing bowlers off. This is not a test match.
9 overs left, and you have Ashley Nurse to bowl 4.
They've got to go for it. Can't play for a draw.
Well,
got to go for it at this stage.
The Gladiola team, they're sponsored by BWU Barbados Workers Union. On their shirts, to the front, it's marked Whipping Boys.
Oh, they need more of shots. Or perhaps they might need someone like a Floyd Reefer.
Oh, maybe. I'll take Alex.
And you know, Gladiola is from St. Philip's.
Oh, there you go.
And they certainly have not retired. So 60 for 4 in over number 12. This is really good bowling. I mean, what's the ploy here? Are Wonders looking to win?
We aren't coming back tomorrow to find out.
Diego Stewart just sneaking a single. I can see his dad probably watching or listening. Ezra Stewart, the sports editor at The Nation newspaper. Hello to you, Ezra.
Well, him and his son won the inaugural father-son competition.
Yes, that was
Catherine.
3 years ago.
Yeah, about 2 or 3 years ago.
That's a big shot. Good hit. right on top of the Malcolm Marshall end sign. The Coppin Cozian Short Media Centre. Roshan Primus goals for a big 6, and that was just what they needed.
I said the hammer had to come down at some point. They need to keep going. They need to keep going. Still 12.98 required.
4 more. Primus on the go. It's prime time here at the Kensington Oval. And is it going to end with high ratings?
Well, Ashley Nurse, who we were talking about to close off the innings, has actually bowled one of the more expensive overs for the day. Maybe relaxing a little bit there, seeing where his team is at. But he will be the one they'll turn to. If Ashley Nurse starts to go for runs here, though you can see the BWU Gladiola team starting to think about the other bowlers. So Ashley Nurse really has a role to play in terms of keeping his unit together. He, as you said, he's been the talisman for this Gladiola team. He will take a lot of responsibility really for bringing this unit together. They have a pretty young coach too, and Ryan Chicken Breast Nurse, who's come over there to lend some assistance. Remember, they're losing the services of Halen Walsh Jr., who's played for them already this year. So Ashley's been able to attract good players, and that's the reason why he's found his team here in this position today.
So Goodman's going to bowl his last. He's got 3 for 11 from 3. Stewart has got 11 from 9, and Primus has got 20 from 19. 71 for 4, 12.1 gone. You know, even though we've had that good over there, the run rate required is still 13, and they still need 102 more runs.
Yeah, a lot of work to do. A lot of work to do to be done. We're under 8 overs as well.
So you've got 4 more balls left. 4 more balls left off of the spell from Goodman.
Keep going. Are you nervous as well? So you got 2 wickets. Okay, I know you. I just play quicker you all fucking time. I know you. As let's go, I blame you, start sweat and do beer can. I know you, Tuki. All of a sudden, you want we ball kind of different ways.
We had a really competitive final last week. That's gone for 6. Roshan Primus taking caution to the wind, throwing it to the wind really, and now he moves to 26 from 20. This is the kind of innings that Wonders need. Let's see if he's going to continue. Good comeback delivery there from Dario Goodman. Just on that off-stump line. Not giving Primus the room he wants to swing his bat. Still in 13s. A lot of chat going on up there. You can hear it in the microphones, Andy, about Pedro.
I think both teams have a good following here. They're going to look for a second on ill-advised. So at the end of we make it 13 overs, 79 for 4. That required run rate still 13.43, Stewart on 12 and Primus on 27. So lots of work to be done here. And Ashley Nurse, as we said, with a role to play. Very expensive first over, but plenty to do here for Roshan Primus still.
Yeah, we're going to have a change at commentator. Pedro Agard is going to take a much needed break. And Andy Wallace is going to come in. I want to say hello to my good friend Andrew Seeley. So you're watching this exchange. He believes that Wonders are going to win it. His head is obviously in the clouds, Andy Wallace.
high there, Barry, or other places. It's a very tall order now for the Wanderers team.
Yeah, the run rate is 13.6. The thing about it is, I would like to perhaps interview now Diego Stewart and ask him, what is this game plan to win this match? I want to hear what he's going to say.
Well, I think the man on strike now will play an important part in any answer that he gives you. If Primus stays there to the 18th, 19th over, the way he's playing, they will always be in with a chance.
You should be pushing for 2 there. Got to push for 2.
Yeah, Nurse not impressed. That's Ashley Nurse not impressed with the effort of the field in the deep. The thing is that with the shot being mistimed as it was, it just gives the batsman that opportunity to push for that second run with the fielders all the way on the boundary.
Yeah, that was the easiest tool. I mean, I think Nurse
and
should.
Even with Primus slipping on turning, he still got there comfortably.
Going once, going twice, sold for 6. Roshan Primus is 4th 6. He goes now to 36 from 26, and the Wanderers team still behind the 8 ball, but now they're 89 for 4, nearly 173.
And with shots like that, that's why you would say, Diego Stewart would tell you that if Primus stays there, they're still in with a chance.
How will Nurse respond?
Yes, my
Should just get a single there.
Again, trying to bowl the ball into the pitch, as they say. Not giving it any flight, bowling it quite flat and on the length, as opposed to tossing the ball up on the full length, because Primus doesn't have to middle it. He's such a powerful player.
Bowl him! Ashley Nurse gets the captain. Well, no. In fact, I think Nurse might have picked might have knocked the stumps bills down. I'm talking about Martin Nurse.
It was so close to the stumps. There was Martin Nurse looking to collect, and the natural movement, instinctively, he just took the delivery and broke the wicket. And obviously we were a little bit obscured from our angle. Our cameras didn't quite get the pitch all the way through. And then you could tell from the body language of the rest of the players that it actually was not bowled. But looking to play a delicate shot there was Stewart. The idea was right. I'm not sure the execution of that particular shot, but it was really simply to play the support role from here on in and let Roshan Primus take centre stage.
So Cody Miller, he's going to come on for a spell. We have to give great applause to Dario Goodman. Hendy, 4 overs, 3 for 19. Spectacular. I mean, he ripped the heart out of Gladiola.
And it was the way in which the wickets were taken. He challenged the stumps, just angling the ball in from around the wicket and then getting it to straighten. And it was really special to see that manner of dismissal for the left-arm spinner. That's the sort of dismissal that left-arm spinners will walk around with. You know, apart from that, is really just chipping the outside edge. But to get the batsman, we saw one trying to attack and the other 2 defending and actually rattling the stumps.
Primus is also, while he wants to rotate the strike, he's also got to realize that time is against him. He's got to more so farm the strike now rather than take singles at this stage.
Well, this guy, Kofi Miller, you need to watch him closely because he's getting the ball to tail in, and that will be challenging the stumps and the pads. So Primus would need, and Stewart really make sure to get close to the length of the ball.
Inspiring words there from Hendy Wallace, the former professional. What's the name of the team in Ireland, Hendy?
Teams in Ireland.
Teams, the main one, the one that you scored the 6s and
Eglinton.
Eglinton.
Yeah, Eglinton.
Eglinton in Ireland. Was that Northern Ireland?
Northern Ireland.
Appeal for a catch at the wicket. Very vociferous appeal.
Well, this is quite skillful stuff here from Miller. We've seen 2 deliveries so far where the ball swung in and that last one swung away. So, you know, this presents now an interesting challenge for Primus. He needs to be very watchful how he looks to attack Miller. Got that one off the toe of the bat.
So it's 93 for 4. 2 balls left in over number 15. Don't forget the victory target is 173, so we're far off from discussing possible victory for Wanderers. That's 80 more runs to win, 32 balls.
You see, Miller's not as effective in my view when he bowls the ball on the length or short of a good length. When he takes that ball right up to the bat, we're seeing the inward movement for the most part, and one delivery we saw going the other way. I'm assuming he knows what he's doing.
Well, if he's playing this game and he looks so skillful, he'll be a very good fluker. I'll give him the benefit of the doubt. He's been around for a little while. Roshan Primus.
So it's a 50 partnership between these two.
I think I'm going to mention that there's a very similar kind of innings that Martin Nurse played with Bradford. This is in the air, chance for a catch. Catch taken. The skillful Miller gets his man, and it's no longer prime time at Kensington Oval.
That could very well be the final nail in the coffin for Wanderers, but Miller really showing his worth there. The ball was struck high in the air, and Miller obviously sent the word out to everybody else to leave it to me, and he took the catch very confidently, and the celebration at the end said it all.
So a good little innings coming to an end from Roshan Primus. 39 from 31. 3 sixes and 1 4. But as he walks off, you tend to just feel that that might have been the last hope for Wanderers winning this match. The captain, Diego Stewart, has got to now go into the second gear. He's still been in the first gear for quite some time.
Well, Ian Boyce is coming out to join him, and he has been one of the underrated cricketers in this Wanderers setup, I guess overshadowed by the big names for Wanderers, but in the semi-final game, he was the one that really added the finishing touches to the game, hitting a couple of sixes near the end of the inning, so he's a six hitter as well. Diego Stewart, from my mind, has been an underrated cricketer all around, but from a batting perspective, you know, I would suggest now that with Primus back in the hutch, his role, not necessarily to be expansive, but just to play positive cricket shots and say to Ian Boyce, no, you come in, your strong area is to hit the ball, you play your natural game. But there must be a plan even at this stage. There was some discussion there whether the batsman had crossed. I don't think the umpires were convinced that they did, so Boyce coming in has to be on strike.
Now you got that right, Hendy. So Ashley Nurse is back at it. He's been pretty expensive. His 2 overs has cost 23 runs. 94 for 5. 79 from 30 balls. All things considered is possible. But what I can tell you, Hendy Wallace, is highly improbable.
Yeah, the odds are stacked heavily against the Wonder side, but the game is never over until it's over.
In IPL, that would be a very gettable kind of score. Especially depending on who is batting.
Stifle appeal there from Ashley Nurse. That one was probably heading down the leg side. And there's a scoring opportunity. Could be a couple here. The man in the deep has some work to do, and he's made a whole hash of it, attempting to slide, and the knee got stuck in the ground, and that could have been very messy there for the field in the deep.
Be careful, be careful.
Umpire just confirming that the ball actually hit the rope. Just making a bit of room for himself on outside the leg stump, just to open up that offside for the scoring opportunities. So that single brings up the 100. 100 for 5. As you said before, Barry, with the asking rate as it is, it's now up to 17 runs per over. You do need the boundaries in between with those singles.
Yeah, I'm not seeing any intent here from Boyson, the captain. Working the ball is not going to win this game, so I'm just wondering if Wonders have given up.
I don't think they have, but there's a case where you're just caught in between. What do I do? Do I go hell for leather, just swing the bat, swing from the hip, or do we try to maybe just get a small partnership going here in a couple of overs and then see what happens? There's not much time left, just 4 overs left, so it's really a situation where, as a batting unit, you probably just should go for leather. Of course, they want to save face as well. They don't want to be embarrassed. It's just gone past the 100 mark, but I think anything they get from here now, I guess you can call that money in the bank.
Central Bank, you're right. But the Wonders team would certainly need to get going. 101 for 5. Stewart on 20. That's in the air again.
I think Miller's in business again.
And a catch taken. Ashley Nurse takes the catch. And another wicket goes down for Wonders. Miller gets a brace. And this is almost good night Nurse now for the team from Darrow's Road.
Yep, I think that the fat lady, can really start to set up. This guy Miller is very impressive in my view. He knows what he's doing, or he seems to know what he's doing, bowling the full length with each way movement and just asking the questions of the batsman all the time. And I suppose from a batting perspective, it's a no-win situation where you have to keep going if you're going to give yourself any sort of a chance. But here we see is a fairly full delivery and going slightly away from the right-handed batsman and hitting low down on the bat. Ashley Nurse coming in from the deep, a couple of paces, settling himself and taking a comfortable catch.
Better late than never.
Yeah.
101 then for 6. 72 to win from 3 overs and 5 balls. The captain is still there. He's got 20 from 18, but the new batsman looks to me like Jeremy McAllister, is it?
No, that's Nikolai Charles.
Nikolai Charles.
Yeah. The hair is slightly longer.
Yes. And he's pelting some bat.
Or Wonders hopes that he will.
Yeah.
It's Miller again.
That's a good shot. It's a very good shot. Just in the gap. Ashley Nurse trying to pull it back. The umpire signaling 4.
And that's the sort of skill that Diego Stewart has. That's a authentic cricketing shot, an aggressive cricketing shot, and very well executed.
This going the gap. Nurse bisects.
Just hitting it slightly inside to out. So that sort of took the long off fielder in Ashley Nurse out of the equation. And didn't time it as well as he would have liked, but the placement was good. So Nikolai Charles looking to face his first delivery. Miller will be looking to go full and hard. See, when he goes on a length like that, it just gives the batsman that opportunity, especially the new batsman. Charles had that opportunity just to make the adjustment, not convincingly so, but enough that he was able to get a bat on it and get off strike.
They need 66 from 20 balls. The captain's on strike. He's got 25. I think Wonders have just consigned themselves to say, no, I'm sorry, but I don't think we can get this. 65 now from 19. Certainly they've got to take another risk here.
That's in the air. I don't think it's got the legs.
Yeah,
it does. Just has the legs. And just for a while, Ashley Nurse would have been interested for a while. But Nikolai Charles has made good contact. So the outstretched arms of umpire Thompson, signal 6. And Ashley Nurse making his way back up to continue what will be his final over.
So 59 from 18 balls, that's the equation. The captain is still there, he's on 26 from 21, and Charles just hitting that 6 takes him to 7. The good thing for Ashley Nurse is that he's got one more over left for him. So he'll be able to bowl that, and then Miller's got 2, I think. Or has Miller got 1?
Miller's got 2 as well, and then you have Miguel Cummins has got another over, so they still have a few options. Good contact there from Nikolai Charles, just had enough to get it over the head of Ashley Nurse. Nurse to continue. A few errors there. False shot from Stewart. Misfield from Ashley Nurse.
Just drifting down the leg side, but Charles was not able to really get onto that.
Well bowled again by Ashley Nurse.
58 from 15. Gladiola perhaps thinking now that we've just got 2 overs away with a couple of balls to win this title.
Just short of the fielder who really made a hash of it, and it goes into the boundary behind him for 4. I think that's probably Miguel Cummins in the deep. Ashley Nurse less than impressed. But I suspect the celebrations afterwards will all will be forgotten. Forgotten and forgiven.
You know, Hendy, it doesn't matter. It could be the last ball with 50 runs needed. Bowlers do not like to have runs off of them.
No.
Especially in that manner. I think when one does do a post-mortem of this match, that over by Dario Goodman of those 9 balls, because it came over the space of 2 overs. In that post-mortem, I think that would feature heavily as to what really ripped the heart out of the innings or given any chance of winning.
Well, that was the performance of the match, wasn't it?
Indeed.
No chance of a run there. Umpire Sisnet calls over. So it's the end of a very expensive spell for Martin Nurse. Wicketless and going for some 9 runs, 9.39 runs per over. So an expensive outing for Ashley Nurse with the ball. But he will feel as if he's played a significant part in what is inevitably going to be a resounding victory for Gladiola.
Yeah, 53 from 12. I haven't had fireworks besides Roshan Primus. I don't see that happening now. Nikolai Charles is on strike. He's got 12 from 6. We've got Corey Miller who's going to continue. This will be his last over.
2 overs for 17 runs so far, but more importantly, those 2 wickets.
it's always painful for fans when you're sitting down just waiting for the inevitable.
Especially if you're on a losing end.
Especially if you lose an end, it could be a bit frustrating. And I think that's how the Wonders fans will feel, because they perhaps came expected to be a bit more competitive. That's gone for 6. Over the extra cover. 6 runs there. And perhaps Diego Stewart just deciding to have some fun, even though it looks like they would not be winning this match. At least he's going to go down showing some potential and some form.
It seems as if umpire Thompson enjoyed it as well. He was rehearsing the shot.
That's in the air again. That's not gone as far. He's going to drop safely. Just 2 more runs to the tally. So Stewart now 35. He has a chance at top score. So Primus getting 39, so he's just 5 runs away from being the top scorer.
And it's good to see Diego Stewart back playing the game, enjoying the cricket, after that very unfortunate incident he had a couple of years ago, which was, career threatening as far as it was concerned. I think he's only bowling a little bit now. He's not bowling as much just yet, but at least he's back on the park. He's batting well, and at least he's participating again. I think that's been a real bonus for him.
That's safe again. Just 1 run. 44 from 9. 43 from 8, correction.
Catch it.
Oh, he's dropped it. Chance there for Corey Miller to finish with a 3rd wicket, but he's put it down.
Never straightforward in the follow through. It was a full toss, and Charles probably got it a little bit high on the bat, and maybe got back to Miller a little bit sooner than he thought.
He almost did it again. Perhaps he was trying to say, look, catch that one. So a highly improbable, impossible 42 needed from the last over. And unless Sir Gary Sowers is going to come down from the statue and into the middle and hit 6 sixes plus 1 would have to be off of a no ball, I think we can safely say that Gladiola are the winners of this year's title.
Yep. Many will say we could have said that safely a long time ago.
Well, speaking of statues, I'm sure you've seen the new statue to be unveiled outside. The Reverend Sir Wes Hall statue is going to be unveiled on the 29th of November. Will be unveiled by the Honourable Amor Motley, the Prime Minister of Barbados, and it will be shown live on the website of Comey and Facebook of Kensington Oval. That's going to be quite an event on the 29th of November.
Yes, pretty much so, and something to really look forward to. Very special moment in the history of Barbados cricket. So the final over, and this is going to be bowled by Kadeem Alim.
Bowl him. Slow delivery, looked like a juicy full toss, but Charles played all over that, and that has summed up the kind of afternoon it has been for Wonders. 131 now for 7, and Charles goes for 14.
Not the greatest delivery from Alim. If anything, you will say that he duped Charles into playing a loose shot because it was a slower delivery, and Charles was through his stroke well before the ball got there, and it landed full on the stumps, and that really started the chorus, which you can hear in our effects microphone, of the Gladiola supporters. In 5 balls time, they know they'll be lifting the trophy for the T20 Cup. And Martin Nurse, the keeper, is obviously starting the chorus there.
you like about Martin Nurse, but at this level, he understands a bit about the cricket.
Well, he's played, you know, at the highest level in regional cricket, and he was successful from a very young cricketer when he was at combined schools, and he was one that was really touted to go all the way for a long time, but that didn't come to be. But playing at club level, you know, he knows his stuff. You're right.
He played a lot of ODIs for the West Indies. But I guess he perhaps didn't play as long as he wanted to. T20s.
Oh, I was speaking about Martin Nurse, but you're referring to Ashley Nurse.
Oh yeah, sorry.
Sorry.
Yeah. We got our nurses wrong. We got our nurses wrong.
Yes.
Yeah, Martin didn't go on.
Oh, another variation there of a slow ball out of the back of the hand.
I was making the point earlier when I remember when Martin Nurse made his debut for Barbados. There was a big marketing campaign to come and see him bat, and he didn't score any runs.
Yeah, it happens sometimes. But as a schoolboy, you know, he
Prolific.
you know, very much so.
Died in Griffith, and then he went to the Lodge School.
And just a single.
So 2 balls left. And they need a whopping 38 runs, a required run rate of 114.
Yeah, at this stage, as the batting team, you just want to get it over, get off the pitch. Congratulate the champions, and you know, probably appreciate that this was maybe just one hurdle too far.
So Gladiola fans downstairs getting their pipes warm. You can hear them keeping a lot of noise.
And Martin Nurse getting them ready. The applause has started.
Last ball.
Aline would love to finish with a wicket. So just a single, and that is it. Gladiola are champions by some 36 runs in this BCA T20 competition. And the celebrations, let the celebrations begin.
Yeah, indeed, and they deserve it, Henry Wallace, because they batted sensibly. They wobbled in the beginning of the innings, but then we saw that very good partnership of 63 between Martin Nurse and Ronaldo Brathwaite. And you and I were on together at that stage, and we were saying that Brathwaite was batting slowly, but then he took them safely with a half century. And that was good enough to get him to 173. You look at the candidates now for man of the match, it will have to be Brathwaite and Darragh Goodman. I will perhaps go with Darragh Goodman.
Yeah.
Those 3 wickets, I thought, pegged Wonders back, and they never recovered.
Yeah, well, take nothing away from the innings of Brathwaite. He was instrumental in some parts of getting up to this competitive total, but any sort of response from the Wanderers side was immediately stymied by that spell from Goodman. So I would agree with you, Barry. My choice of the man in the match would be Goodman for that inspired spell.
Who's the lady that's being lifted up? And he says he knows her very well, but can't remember the name. So congratulations then to the Gladiola team from Rice's in St. Philip. Wonders defeated here by 36 runs. Melissa, of course, the scorer there, she'll be very upset because she was looking forward to this game all week long. And I know that they'd be very, very upset with what has happened.
You know, I was just saying there, you felt it might have been a hurdle too far for the Wanderers side, given the quality of the players that they were missing for this final. They did really well against Carlton to get into the final when they defeated Carlton in a very close-fought game in the semi-final, but losing the likes of Craig Brathwaite and Raymond Reefer Shane Mosley for this exchange. It left a gaping hole in their side. And you always felt that the Gladiola side, they were Mason Hayden and Walsh Jr., but he hasn't been that impactful for the Gladiola side in this tournament. But you felt that the power players for Gladiola were still available, and you just felt that they had the edge going into this final.
Yeah, so Pedro Agard is down on the ground. I think we might be getting an interview or two pretty soon, until he indicates that he's ready. I can tell you that Gladiola scored 172, and it meant that the victory target was 173 then for Wanderers. Jason Green was LBW to Aline for 3. Rashawn Williams was bowled by Goodman for 23. Jonathan Drakes was bowled by Goodman for 3. Roshan Primus was caught in bowled Miller for 39, the top score from 31 balls, 3 sixes and 1 4. Kirk Edwards is bowled by Goodman for 37. Diego Stewart, the captain, came 37 not out from 27. Ian Boyce caught Nurse bowled Miller 2. Nikolai Charles bowled Ali 14. And Sylvester Moore, he came not out on 4. Cummins, 3 overs, no maiden none for 6. Jamar Trotman, 2 overs, no maiden none for 22. Kadeem Aline, 4 overs, no maiden, 2 for 25. And Demario Goodman, he's the man of the moment. 4 overs, no maidens, 3 for 19. Ashley Nurse, 4 overs, costing 36 runs, no wickets. And Corey Miller, 3 overs, no maiden, 2 for 28. A really good game in terms of the conditions, in terms of the competitiveness of the match. But Gladiola just showing they had what it took to win this game. And congratulations to the team from Rice's there in St. Philip. They're with all their supporters here at Kensington and Oval. They certainly brought down a good little crowd with them. And they're just beginning to partake in everything that's good